Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the stream. Thank you guys so much for joining us today for episode number 11 of Day-to-Day Life as a Reseller. And we got some great topics to talk about today. Got some orders to go out, just the usual for a Monday for me. But we appreciate you guys joining in with us as we go along. So first thing, I just want to thank you guys for those of you watching live. Greatly appreciate it. If you could let me know if there's any issues with sound or quality or anything like that. Appreciate you guys being my quality control and my checks there for me. It's a little hard sometimes, especially when things don't like to go right. But so far, we're on a good roll, so we're going to get started and jump right into here. Thank you, SL Greeny. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate it. And we've got some great topics today, guys. Obviously, the big one that we're going to be discussing is wholesale sources and bulk buys, how to build those connections and how to get started on that. This is a question that I get a lot. Actually, believe it or not, I get asked not just from in YouTube land here, but also outside of YouTube and everything. Building those connections and getting those wholesale deals as a reseller are a huge thing. And when you can do them, they're great, but it can seem really daunting at first. So we're going to be talking about that today. But we've got a few other small topics that we'll be discussing as well, including some cool stuff that I'm excited for, hoping to be able to get into hopefully here in the next week or two, and we'll talk about that as well. But just a few sneak peeks. Like I said, we got lots to talk about. Not a crazy amount of orders going out today. We've only got, I think, 30, which is not great. Actually, this weekend was really slow. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Super slow weekend. Only did about $1,200. So not sure what's going on there, but we'll discuss that a little bit later on as well and see if we can come up with some solutions or maybe some of the reasons why we are down in sales. But you know, that's how the reselling goes. Some weeks you're up, some weeks you're down. This week actually we were crazy up this past weekend, so it kind of makes sense that we're down this weekend. It always seems to even out. Thank you, Crystal. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining in. I've been really looking forward to this topic. Awesome, Greeny. Appreciate you tuning in live. Yeah, this is a question, guys. I literally this is not just, obviously I'm not a huge YouTuber. I've got you guys that follow me religiously, and I appreciate all that support. But I'm not a huge YouTuber, but I get this question on our Discord group. I get this question in real life as far as people wanting to know how you build these wholesale sources or build these connections to get bulk buys and stuff like that. So we are going to delve into that. I've got a whole list of keynotes that I want to try to keep on topic. And one of the things with this, I've been holding off on doing this topic because I wanted to make sure I did it well. And it's harder to do when you're doing a live stream because I'm going to be doing, you know, packing orders and stuff like that all throughout. So I kind of held off on doing this topic just because I didn't want to ruin it, I guess you could say, or not cover certain aspects of it and stuff like that just because I get sidetracked or whatever. But what I've decided to do is these are live streams. Not everybody watches these. And basically, if for some reason I don't get my point across or something like that in a live stream, what I'll do is I'll probably do a full-on video. And I still may do a video on these topics to just kind of give it a more shorter form. But this is a way that we can actually delve into it a lot deeper with these lives with the longer form content. So I figure we'll give it a shot here. If it doesn't quite come out how we want it to, or I'm not able to cover all the topics, then we'll do an actual video and hopefully clear up some of that. But I don't want to hold off on some of these topics that get requested a lot because I know you guys are interested. And I'm not an expert, but you know, I feel like providing that information to you guys that I've been able to build up and continue to do will help you guys out. And I don't want to hold out on that information just because I'm a little worried I'm going to get a few words mixed up. So if you guys are cool with it, we're going to delve into it today and see what we can come up with. Let's see, catching up on the comments here. Crystal, we had 40 for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's awesome, Crystal. 40 orders. Like I said, 30 orders isn't bad. And I feel bad for complaining about it because it's still a decent amount. 10 items a day, you know, is not bad. But for a weekend, it's a little low. And what we sold, unfortunately, is nothing crazy. So no big orders going out this week. Few interesting things, but it's kind of the basic stuff. So maybe we'll be able to get in and actually talk about some of these topics pretty thoroughly. Let's see, pumped for this. Thank you, Andrew, for joining. I appreciate your subscription too, man. Seeing that come through. We're sitting at like 203, 204 subscribers, so really cool there to see the subscriber count go up. We are going to do something at 250. Not sure what yet, but got a little bit of time, I think, before we hit that, so we'll figure out something cool for you guys and hopefully be more entertaining than just a giveaway. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first few orders so I can get in the rhythm here and hopefully get started on the topics that we want to talk about today. First order is this Dallas Cowboys hat. This is, we've talked about this before, actually. I think I've sold several of these. This is from a bulk buy that I did. Not necessarily a source per se, but a sale that we call out in Bread and Butter in our personal Discord group. Part of that $5 hat sale that we picked up on. So got that for $5 and sold it for $24, which is not bad. We've actually sold quite a few of these. They're not branded either. They're just the Cowboys brand or Cowboys authentic gear. It's not like a New Era or anything like that. So cool to get some of those selling. And like I said, we've sold quite a few of them already. Let's see. This is also Chuck Norris from me. Yes, Andrew, I figured that's who it was just because I sent over that link. I appreciate it. He's actually bought some of my wholesale buys or wholesale bulk stuff from over on Bread and Butter Discord as well. So appreciate him supporting in that way also. Let's see here. Like I said, that's going out. I got to make sure we got that going to Grants, New Mexico, just down the street from us. Getting those cowboy hats out of here. If you guys have any questions or anything you want me to cover in regards to the wholesale, like I said, we'll be talking about that in depth, pretty much as much info as I can think of. But if you have specific questions for that or any questions in general, feel free to let me know in the chat, and we can touch on those and hopefully get you guys some answers. Also, if you're rewatching this in the live stream, or if you're not watching live but rewatching it as the full video, then feel free to leave it in the comments and I will do my best to answer those questions for you directly there too. So we want to give you guys the opportunity to ask questions. I have had a few questions. Andrew actually sent me over one, and a few other people have sent me over a couple questions on Discord. So I'll be talking about those and hopefully covering those as well. But if you have anything specific besides the general basic stuff, where to find it, who to talk to, that sort of thing, let me know as well. And as always, we appreciate those who interact, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps us out a lot. We're going to dive right into it, guys, here in just a second. Let me get this next order going out. This is going out to Anna. This is one of those Gymshark buys. Again, Bread and Butter call out that we had from a crazy sale that they did just randomly, and this actually came directly from Gymshark. Sold this for $24.99 or $21.99, excuse me, going out to Anna in Newcastle. Let's see, which way are we going? All right, Newcastle, I think, Delaware, something like that. Interesting place. These are pretty cool. These are actually selling full retail for these is $24.99 on their website, and we're selling them for $22. So getting that holdout money. A bunch of people tanked these, but we've held on to them and kept that price high, and they're selling. So super cool to have that happen. Let's see, what did we do this week? Listed about 150 items. Got a lot of listings up this week, which is what I needed to do. We're actually pretty much caught up. I got maybe a day, 2 days max of listing left before I'm out of stuff to source or out of stuff to list, but that's okay. We've got some other topics and big projects we want to work on, and we'll be discussing that a little bit later. But yeah, other than that, we didn't really do a whole lot. Other small sourcing trip that we did for tried to hit Burlington's again, had no new cleats, so it's kind of a waste, but we did get some inventory from one of my sources, and we'll cover that here in a little bit as well. I keep teasing you guys. I feel bad, and I actually probably ought to start into this topic pretty much right away. That way we can get some retention on the videos from people rewatching. I feel like this one might be a bit of a hot topic, and I feel like there might be some people that are going to rewatch after. Because everybody wants to know where to find these deals. So I'm going to be straight up with you guys. I'm not going to tell you exactly places where you're going to find these deals, okay? Because in all honesty, there's a lot of opportunities out there, and it's not going to be the same. My deals, what I find and what I've found in the past, are not going to be what you're going to find most likely. So keep that in mind when you're talking wholesale and stuff like that. I would love to be able to get on here and tell you, hey, go to this retailer, go to this particular location, go to this website. It's not quite that easy. And if it was, everybody would be doing it. Everybody would have access to it, and it wouldn't be as valuable as it is. So I would love to be able to tell you that, but there isn't just a generic answer for these to tell you guys, that's exactly where you have to go. So we'll go ahead and get started. The next item that's sold is this Batman Chrome Funko Pop. This is just from some inventory that I've had for a long time. I used to sell these, buy and sell, flip them, especially these like Comic-Con exclusives. This was like a 2019 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. But it's just old inventory. I finally got it listed about 6 months ago, and it's slowly moving. Funko Pops are not what they used to be, unfortunately. So, but we did sell that one. That one did sell for $24.99, which isn't bad considering what most of them go for now. Not too bad. All right, let's dig into this, guys. I'm going to try to, again, follow my outline, so bear with me as I try to do this, and hopefully I can be as clear as possible because I don't want to mislead anybody on the information. So if I miss something, please let me know. I do want to know if there's something you feel like I missed, or a question I didn't get answered. Kind of got this split up into 3 separate categories, and we're going to jump into the first one. Let's see. Andrew asked, do you find wholesale moves better than others by category? Is wholesale its own thing and moves slower by nature? We're going to talk about that a little bit. That's in kind of my topic number 3, or third point, I guess, of this topic of wholesale. Wholesale is a super generic term, okay? Wholesale in general, in the definition of it, is purchasing something for a price to resell. Wholesale is designated for resale. So it's going to be a wholesaler sells to, say, Walmart. That's kind of a bad example, but somebody has connections to all these manufacturers, and they are like the salesman to companies. And so Walmart, say for instance, let's find a brand that Walmart carries. Here we go. So this is Motorola. Motorola has salespeople or wholesalers that sell their product out to Walmart or retail locations, whatever it is, to buy. That's what wholesale is. So a lot of people get the idea that resell, there's a couple different categories of it. You can do that as a reseller. You can actually get in contact with wholesale suppliers, like online and stuff, and purchase this product. The thing with it is most of the time, if you're going to go buy Motorola from a wholesaler, you're going to have to buy millions of dollars worth of product, okay? And that's just not feasible for resellers like you and me. There's different categories of it, and the ones that we're going to be talking about today won't be $1 million deals that you're going to be buying from an authorized wholesaler. A lot of the deals that I'm going to be discussing are going to be ones that are connections that you can build, and you can get bulk buys. I kind of refer to them more as bulk buys, buying, for instance, my 5,000 hats that I've bought, or buying 2,000 boxes of chips, whatever that is. Those deals are what we're going to be discussing and how to get into those. And those aren't necessarily going to be buying from a wholesaler. I'm not going to say you can't. I'm not going to say you can't go in there, because you can get connections into buying from the same people Walmart buys from, or the same people that other retailers buy from. The difference is just that most of the time with those connections, you have to have huge capital beyond what any of us resellers are going to be doing, okay? Not to say you can't build to that, but that's the general consensus. So I should refer to this more as bulk buys. A lot of people consider it wholesale, but it is going to be more bulk buys and connections to buy out large quantities of inventory versus actual true wholesale, which is buying from, directly from manufacturers and so on. So hopefully that helps clear up a little bit of what we're going to be talking about today, because I don't want people to think I'm going to be telling you. I actually did some research on some other videos last night, and there's a whole bunch of people that go in and describe, buying $25,000 deals from, a soap manufacturer or something like that. That is a possibility, but that's a whole nother topic, and that would be more, I don't know the correct term for it, but it's not what most resellers are going to be doing. So that's why we are covering more of the bulk buys than just buying from authorized resellers. And when I say authorized, guys, I don't mean that I'm buying my stuff from some shady guy on the block, okay? I'm just saying authorized retailers are people that have deals with manufacturers, whereas these deals that I'm going to be talking about are going to be like end users that are just trying to get rid of large quantities of inventory. All right, I think I circled around that one 3 times, so hopefully that helps out a little bit there. Bulk buying, I want to start off by giving kind of a disclaimer. I do not recommend bulk buying for anybody that is reselling that hasn't been reselling for a period of time. I don't have a specific time in mind, but you need to be comfortable reselling. You need to have the capital. You need to have a lot of opportunity, a lot of structure built in to be able to do this. There are lots of different categories of bulk buying, and we'll be talking about some of those. You can have bulk buys as far as going in, like I've done in some of my videos. I've talked about going into a bin store and buying, 150, 200 of whatever the product is, the Gas X, over-the-counter medication, the shampoo and stuff that we bought. Those are small bulk deals, a couple $100 that, I wouldn't shy anybody away from if you're doing reselling. But some of these deals that we're going to be talking about and kind of some of the connections that you actually want to build are going to need a lot of capital. So I don't recommend going into this. You should be comfortable with what you're selling. You should have your bills paid, your income, and basically I would look at bulk buys as if you have extra capital sitting there that you want to invest into bulk buying merchandise. We'll talk about why you would want to do that here in a little bit, but I don't recommend starting off and immediately going into bulk buys, because what happens is if you're not already comfortable with what you're sourcing, say for instance this hat here, okay? This hat sold obviously, but if I'm going in and I don't know hats and I don't know the product and how well it sells and how often it sells and what kind of profits I can make off of it, I should not go buy 1,000 of these hats, because you may get lucky and you may get a good buy, but you could go in and buy 1,000 of these hats at $10 and you're not going to make the money that you need to, and you're never going to sell 1,000 of this particular hat. So in a short period of time. So, if you're going to buy 1,000 of these hats at $10 a piece, that's $10,000 that you're going to tie up in this one item. That if you don't know your market and you don't know how it works, you're going to have that money tied up and you're going to lose on it, because you're eventually not going to be able to keep that money held there unless you have the capital to do that. So I recommend obviously having money saved up. You want to use bulk buys as money that you aren't having to use in your business. It may be a savings account, it may be an amount that you've got set aside separately for just bulk buys, and you have to almost be willing to, I don't want to say lose it, but you have to be willing to make sure that that purchase is going to be smart. Because if you don't, like I said, you'll end up with 1,000 bottles of shampoo like I've got in my garage right now and no place to go with it. All right, let's keep moving here. So like I said, disclaimer, I don't recommend it for just anybody. I definitely want to be a grounded reseller, somebody that, has some experience. And when you're bulk buying something, you want to make sure that's in an area that you understand sell-throughs and volume and how much is actually selling of it as well. So I want to put that disclaimer out there. I don't want people to think that this is something that you can just, jump into right off the get-go and make profit off of it. Not going to say you can't, but it is very risky to do that. Let's see here. I'm making sure I follow my points before we get started. Need capital, like I said, we kind of covered that. And you need to know your sell-through margins and so on, so that you're not holding this inventory for extremely long amounts of time. Like I said, you can have deals from $100 for bulk deals up to thousands of dollars. Myself, I've done bulk deals for $50, $100 and gotten 150, 200, 300, 400 items. I've also done giant deals up to $35,000. One of my biggest deals was $35,000 at one time. I literally handed the supplier $35,000 for one particular bulk buy. So they can range a lot, and we're going to talk about how to build all of those different categories. Everyone wants to know where to find it, and no one's going to tell you. Okay, that's just the thing. I'm not going to sit here and tell you where I get my bulk hats that you guys hear me talk about. I'm not going to share that source, and the reason for that obviously is because if I share it, then everybody can find out. Somebody else can go in there and bid me up on that, or go in and buy it out before I get to it or whatever. So no one's going to tell you exactly where they get your sources. There are sources that I don't have anymore that I'll be talking about, so that will hopefully help give you an idea. But obviously, current sources, you're not going to find somebody that's going to tell you your current source. And everybody wants to know. Everybody's going to ask you. Everybody's going to want to, get that information because, it is a lot easier to sell in bulk. No one's going to tell you where they got their deals. Yeah, same thing. Kind of the same idea there. So let's get into this. And I'm going to try to do this whole thing. Shipping orders while we talk. It's going to be a little bit harder, but we'll try to find natural breaks to give you guys what sold and move on to the next topic. We got the Nike Revolutions here. These are the gray ones. Let's double check, make sure I got the right size, 9.5. Purchased these at the Kohl's clearance event and sold them for $59.99, so $60. Paid $22, I believe, for these ones. So not a bad price. Going out to Michigan, C. Brickley in Michigan. These have been moving for me. The gray ones are finally moving now that I sold out the black ones. So it's nice to see those. Shoes are one of those things that I like buying, but I hate buying at the same time because I'm always afraid I'm going to get stuck with them. And they take up a lot of space. Probably not the best bulk buy to do shoes if you've got a limited amount of space. All right. The number one thing with reselling, this is my biggest pointer and my biggest topic to everybody. The whole thing of buying wholesale and buying bulk buys are relationships. You cannot go in hardly ever. I'm not going to say not because one of my bigger buys was something I just walked into, but very rarely are you going to walk into a place and find a wholesale deal, okay, or a bulk deal. I want to refer to it as bulk deal, guys. Help me out with that. Remind me. Bulk deals, you're very rarely going to walk in and just see one setting, on a counter or on a shelf. There's a little bit of a variation with that with like liquidation places and stuff. But for the most part, you're not going to walk into a store and find a bulk deal. You may find a bunch of an item that you might be interested in, but it's not going to be sitting there priced at $1 a unit when it's selling for 20. Okay, it's just not going to happen. Number one, if you do find it, you're extremely lucky because no one else seen it first. But it's not something that you have to do. You're going to have to build relationships. And this is not just, guys, this is not something that I think is just related to bulk buys. If you are doing reselling, you need to build relationships from every single place that you source, whether that's a retail store, whether that's a personal person at a, that you know personally or that you have a connection with. You have to build relationships. You have to get a rapport with them before you're ever going to walk into something that's going to be real good. Let's see, off topic, but what tape gun is that? I need a good one. I see it in the description. Yeah, so these are just they're not Uline. I forget the name brand on them. But there's a link in the description, or maybe they are Uline. There's a link in the description if you want to check them out. That link has, I think, the 2-inch ones. I use 3-inch guns with 2-inch tape just because I can use both, and they work great. I really like them, so. But those are in the description. And no problem, yeah. If you guys have any questions like that, feel free to drop them. I'm not going to... No, they don't have to be on topic. We can talk about other things too. I get sidetracked enough as it is, so I don't mind. Oops, I forgot to scan. See, I already did. I forgot to scan that label. But yeah, guys, relationships. When I walk into a store, I'm not afraid to talk to the cashier. If the manager's there, I try to strike up a conversation with them, just to build a connection and let them know I'm there. Number one, not to rip them off. If you're going and buying a bunch of stuff, a lot of times people are worried you're just going to walk out. But just talk to them, get to know them, go in often, go into your stores if you're sourcing. And this is general advice. This isn't just bulk sales or anything like that, but general advice in reselling. Go in and talk to them. Your cashiers, if you're in that store, a couple times a week, they're going to start to recognize you. If you buy a lot of one product all of a sudden, like for instance, cleats, every single Burlington store manager knows who I am because I come through with cartfuls of cleats. If an employee isn't talking to them about theft, saying, hey, this guy's loading up, a whole shopping cart, getting ready to push it out, then they're going to be telling them, oh my goodness, I sold, $2,000 in just cleats to this one person. You're getting talked about in their store. So you're not a hidden person. You don't have to go in and act like they don't know who you are. I find a lot of people are afraid to talk about what they do to retailers and stuff like that. And I know there have been some scares with certain retailers being like, hey, you can't resell, you can't buy our product to resell and stuff like that. But the amount of times I've never had it happen to me every single store manager, every single manager that I've talked to has no problem with it. They understand it. They appreciate it because it gets product out of their store. They're making money. Very few don't. And coming from a retail manager myself, we loved when people come in and bought all of our clearance out or bought whatever. That was huge for us because it emptied up that space. So don't be afraid to talk about it. They're talking about you already. So when you're at the cash register, if they ask you a question, hey, what do you do? Are all these for you? I get that question a lot. Don't be afraid to tell them what you do. I don't go into detail. Okay, guys, I'm not telling them how much money I'm making and what I sell these super fast or whatever. I don't do that. Obviously, you don't want to create competition for yourself, but you don't have to be afraid to tell them, what you do, because like I said, they're going to figure out. Somebody knows about the whole process, and whether that's the person you're talking to or the person they're talking to on their lunch break, they're going to find out. So don't be afraid to tell them. I always tell them, hey, all these for no, I resell, I come in and try to buy out, clearance and stuff like that when I can. And I always try to spin it in a helpful way to them. Not that I'm doing this just for me, but I make money on it and it helps you guys out. It gets this product out of your hair, stuff like that, because that's what matters to them. They're getting paid hourly. They don't care, how much it sells for, but they if it helps them out in their jobs, then they're going to be able to do that. So I always talk to them. Don't be afraid to tell them. People don't be afraid to tell people number one, they might buy from you, or number two, they might know somebody, for instance, a business owner that's a friend of theirs or whatever, and they end up, hey, I've got 1,000 electrical boxes, my intern messed up, I've got 1,000 electrical boxes, I got to get rid of them. Hey, I know a guy who does reselling online, maybe he'd be interested. Don't be afraid to talk to people, because it's networking and you can land so many good deals and stuff like that from those. When a manager's in the store, like I said, I talk to them, just strike up a conversation if I can. A lot of them will ask me questions, stuff like that. Those, you just get that familiar with them, and then when you walk in the next time, they come up with a solution. For instance, they get all those cleats and they're like, man, we have all these cleats, where are we going to put them all? Hey, that one guy comes in and buys it all the time. Maybe the next time he's in, maybe I'll mention to him, maybe he can help us out and get rid of some of these. That goes both ways, and you get that both way, that street, kind of two-way street going, and you're there to help them, they're there to help you, and you build those relationships no matter what. That's a reselling tip in general. That doesn't necessarily even apply to bulk deals. They'll tell you when upcoming sales. I have associates that have my personal number. They'll tell me when upcoming deals are coming up. They'll tell me when, hey, we're getting ready to mark down all these. I've got a particular store manager that I talked to just this past week, and she's like, yeah, we're getting in so much of this apparel. If you're interested or whatever, let us know. We'll let you know when it comes in, and you can get it, when it's marked down, stuff like that. So those connections are huge, and it's one of the best reselling tips I can give anybody is don't be afraid to talk to people, and don't be afraid to get to know them. You don't have to talk about your business. You can just talk about day-to-day stuff. Just be that friendly person that they look forward to seeing when you come into their store or their location or wherever you're purchasing from. Next up item are these Converse Chuck Taylors we picked up from the Kohl's clearance event. I'm really glad these are selling. I bought so many of these, and I wasn't sure if they would sell. I ended up buying way more than I thought, but they are moving fairly rapidly. We're selling 1 to 2 a week. This one here we paid $20 for, and we sold them for, looks like $54.99. So nice little profit there. We're gonna peel this Kohl's clearance sticker off before I forget and keep going. Now, relationship, guys, like I said, for bulk buys is how you're going to find a majority of your bulk buys. They're not going to be just sitting on the shelf or whatever. You're going to be a solution for the manager, and that's what, or the whoever it is. That is the whole key, is being a solution. When you are bulk buying from anybody, you're helping them solve a problem. I think a lot of people get the misconception that people are making money. Okay, a lot of the bulk deals that I buy, especially like my hats and some of the other deals that I've talked about, the company or whoever I'm buying them from is losing money. Okay, that doesn't make sense to us, obviously. As a reseller, you don't ever want to lose money. But the whole thing with it is they have, for instance, old inventory or something that is just not being able to sell quick enough. They have new inventory coming in. They need to get it out. They can't store it. That is the biggest problem that you as a reseller can solve for anybody. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if it's a giant corporation. Doesn't matter if it's your mom and pop shop down the road. If they have too much inventory and they need to get rid of it, they will sell it at a loss to get it out of their way and get inventory that is going to be profitable. Just because they're selling it at a loss to you doesn't mean there's not profit in it. For instance, a lot of my hats are just discontinued or older models that aren't popular right now, or that are just old. You know, they came out a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever it is. Those still have value. There's still buyers for them. But sitting on the store shelf, they've been sitting there for 2 years. The people that shop that store or shop that location or whatever don't want it. They've seen it every single time they've been in the store, every single time they've been on the online website, whatever it is. They don't want it. So as a seller, then they want to get that out of the way, get their money, some of the money recouped, and that's where you come in. You solve that problem for them. So no matter what deal you're getting, most of the time you are solving a problem. Either they need the capital back or they need to get the space. For instance, the chips, I think I talked about this deal that I had, or maybe not. I don't know if I did with you guys. If I have, let me know so I don't keep going. But if I haven't, I did a bulk deal on some chips, some Quest chips, bought 9 pallets total overall of the course of that deal. I'm not going to go into crazy detail on it because it takes too long, but that particular deal, they literally had 9 pallets. They had 12 pallets, I think, at the time. They couldn't get rid of them. They were selling like 6-8 boxes a day of these chips. They could not get rid of them enough time, and it was taking up, that's half a truckload. That's where I came in. They sold them to me at a loss. They weren't making any money on them, but it was getting them out of their way. I was flipping and making my money, but I was solving that problem and getting it out of the way. So I think I've harped on that enough. Your whole thing as a reseller, you are solving a problem for the person, and that's how you have to look at it, okay? You don't go in and ask for a deal. You go in and be like, hey, if you want, I can get rid of all those items for you, get them out of your way. That way you have some freed up space. If you can make me a deal on them, I'll buy them all. And that's how most deals operate in a one-on-one, retail location or whatever. Let me get this one shipped before I move on. Otherwise, I'm really going to get confused. All right. So I forget where I was at with that. Oh, man, that's what I was afraid of. So let me get back to my notes here and make sure I'm not jumping around too much. Let's see. Key to getting the building relationships, talking to the employees, all that. Again, that goes for everybody. Talk to them about their business. Ask them where the hard parts are. When I'm talking to a manager, hey, guys, sales doing good. Guys look like you're staying busy. They might say, yeah, we're really slow, whatever. Oh man, that sucks. I noticed you have a bunch of clearance, stuff like that. Just getting those connections and talking with them is going to be key. That way you have a personal relationship with them and you're not just coming in and trying to get a deal. You don't ever want to be that person. You don't ever want to do that. One of the things with that, guys, too, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but go in and visit your sources often, even if you're not buying, okay? I have a particular source in a retail store location that helps me out with clearance deals and lets me know and stuff. I don't only go in when they message me or contact me. I go in if I'm in the area. I'll stop in, say, hey, how's it going? Just talk to them. Literally, if there's something that I want to buy, I'll buy it from them. Might cost me a few extra bucks, but maintaining that source isn't just, talking to them when they have a deal for you, but just being there. I don't want to say being a friend because it's not quite that level, but just going and seeing them, talking to them, saying, hey, whatever, that helps that rapport. And they're going to be more willing to contact you. That's one of the things, guys. There's all kinds of people out there trying to get deals. So you're not the only one. So if you build that rapport and that relationship with them, they're going to be, they might have 5 people that will buy clearance off of them, but they'll contact you first because you're their favorite or whatever. So don't be afraid to go in, like I said, and visit them, and stuff like that. I go into my sources as often as I can, even if it's for just a few minutes, just to say hi. I was in the neighborhood, just want to see how you guys are doing, stuff like that. That's huge in building those relationships. Some don'ts that I highly recommend: don't go in asking for the deal first thing. Okay, if you walk into a bin store, we're going to talk about some of those locations here in a minute. If you go into a bin store and automatically, hey, will you sell me all those for $100? If you've not talked to that manager, you've not talked to that person, unless they are just desperate to get rid of it, they're probably not going to make the deal. Not going to say they won't. There are some that will, but your chances are very slim. So don't go in asking for the deal. Don't be that person that's just there to get a good price. Again, you're a problem solver for them. So don't go in acting like, they're doing a deal for you. You're there to help them. And that always goes a long way. And that's a personal thing. that relates to everybody. You want to be there for them, not just to talk about yourself. Most will offer you the deal before you offer or you ask. Okay. Again, bin stores are a great opportunity. We'll cover that. But that's one of the biggest things with them. If you're in there buying all the time, they're going to come up to you and be like, hey, I've got 50 more of those or 500 more of those in the back. Are you interested in taking that? A lot of times the offer will come from them first. Don't be afraid of that. That actually is a better way to get into it, because a lot of times you're going to get a better deal that way. So keep an eye out. Again, building those relationships is key, but then once they see you're buying a lot of product, a lot of times they'll come and ask you for, if you would like to purchase instead of you going to them. Building relationships, not only one trying to get the deal. Yeah, I think I covered that. All right, so where to find these connections? That's the next big one, okay? And that's where everybody wants to know, what areas you can do it. The first one I recommend, and it's probably the easiest, especially even for beginners and so on, is going to be bin stores and liquidation stores. Thrift stores work also, especially if they're getting donations. A lot of thrift stores get donations from retailers and stuff. Habitat for Humanity has their resale shops, and a lot of times they'll get in bulk, leftover, anything to build houses and stuff like that. They'll get bulks in that they just sell out, and a lot of times you can go in and make a deal for a lot of those. In Bread and Butter Group, I don't remember who it is, somebody bought a whole bunch of electronic door locks that they got a really good price, and I'm flipping like crazy on eBay. But the location got a whole bunch of that. Those locations are great because they rely on moving high volumes of inventory. Liquidation game is all about volume. So, your bin stores, obviously they're buying a truckload a week for their bin store. They want that stuff out of there the next week so they can bring more in. They're going to be way more apt to give you a bulk deal if you're buying a lot of product from them. So I highly recommend starting there. And like I've said before, it doesn't mean you have to buy 1,000 items from that person or whatever. At bin stores, you can be buying 50 items, 100 items. You can get a better price on that. They're already going to be probably priced pretty close to profitability, so you can get started. And that's a great way to start. That's how I started. I recommend it to everybody, because again, your volume, for instance, the soaps and the stuff like that, I'm paying 50 cents an item. I can buy 1,000 of them and pay $500. If I lose the $500, obviously I don't want to lose it, but it's not going to hurt me in the long run. So you can afford to take a little bit more risk in kind of learning with lower cost items. When you're doing bulk deals from manufacturers or from retail locations or anything like that, your cost per piece is going to be way sky high, and you're going to have to buy a lot more to get that price. So it's a little more risky. So I always recommend people starting, like I said, bin stores. That is the number one right now that I can think of right off the top of my head, where you can get bulk deals on stuff. Now, it may not be what you sell. It may not be, if you're a shoe seller, you're not going to go in and find a lot of shoes. It might be something that's not in your niche area. But again, to learn the process, it's great there, because you can go in and buy, a couple hundred items for a couple $100 and stuff like that a lot of times, and make good money on them. We'll talk about a little more what to pay attention to as far as, buying too much and stuff here in the next point. But for now, we're gonna just stick with that. Like I said, it's a great place to start. Locally owned larger businesses is what I would consider the next step. If you guys have ideas, let me know in the comments, or if you have questions about particular locations and you want my opinion on it, you can leave those too. But my next step up would probably, like I said, locally owned larger businesses or franchise locations. When I say larger businesses, basically they need to be buying, or they need to have access to a lot more inventory. So your mom and pop boutique that's selling one or two of an item probably isn't going to be your place to find a bulk deal. But your franchise, trying to think of one right off the top of my head. What are franchise stores right now? I don't have any in my area, so it's kind of hard. But the ones that are locally owned, it might have a name brand on them. For instance, obviously you're not going to wholesale from Taco Bell, but Taco Bells are owned by somebody locally most of the time. Those particular franchises, you can go in. A lot of times, the reason why I recommend franchises is because a lot of those are solely reliant on their product. They don't have liquidation sources. They can't send all their product back to somebody. They don't have access to that network and that infrastructure. So they end up with the clearance. They have to get rid of the clearance themselves, whatever's not selling or whatever they overstock on. They have to get rid of it. They don't have that infrastructure. Take, for instance, Walmart. Walmart, if you're not going to go into Walmart and get, liquidation from them or clearance from them, because they have a whole network set up for that, and they pay for that, and they're going to use that. Franchises don't have that, and your local mom and pop shops don't have that. So if you visit some of those stores in your area, and you see they have a lot of a particular item or whatever, then that's an opportunity for you. You may not go in the first day and find and be able to buy that, but that just gives you an idea. Hey, they've got a lot of clearance, they're not moving it. This might be an opportunity for me. I'm going to try to build that relationship. So you go in and start shopping those locations. That's kind of the next one. Again, when you go into that, your buy price isn't going to be as low most of the time. But your quality of item is going to be better because it is going to be stuff that obviously at some point was selling. Otherwise, they wouldn't have bought it for their store. So that would be kind of my second tier, I guess you could say. You could go up into that. In that first tier too, guys, you can buy bulk from other wholesale or other resellers. Bread and Butter is a perfect example of that. We sell out bulk deals to people over there. It might be something that I just have too much of. For instance, right now I'm doing clothing lots of apparel, sports apparel. Well, for number one, I don't like listing it. But number two, I have access to a lot of inventory through a source that I just got that I can't move all myself. I'm not going to be able to sell it all myself. So I can wholesale out to other resellers. And you can find those sources too. So there's a lot of different ways in that personal level, I guess what I would call personal level, that you can do have access to. Check your Facebook Marketplace. Check your, whatever local selling groups that you have. A lot of times you'll find businesses on there even that are just getting rid of something that they had. Restaurants, believe it or not, I've had a lot of restaurants that have either closed down or that are moving locations. They'll sell out all their utensils and their cups and stuff like that. Doesn't seem like that would be a great bulk buy, but a lot of times they're selling it for pennies on the dollar for what they spent. They just need it gone. You can buy that and flip it locally or flip it online and make money. So there's avenues of local that you can do at any level of reselling that are smaller buys most of the time, but you can find them. You just have to look, like I said, your local bin stores, your local stores, and your Facebook marketplaces and stuff like that. That's level one. Level two, like I said, is going into your larger franchise businesses and stuff and trying to find it there. Past that, you do have online outlets that you can work into. I personally, the amount of time it takes for those, I just don't have it. I find enough inventory in person and in my area that I don't necessarily mess with the online. And I don't have, again, once you get into some of those online outlets, as far as for bulk buys, your buy cost is a lot higher and you have to have a lot more capital. They're not going to make a bulk deal for you for 50 of these hats. They're going to want you to buy 500 of these hats to make it worth their while. And that's what level their business is at. If you're not ready to buy 500 of these hats at $10, then online isn't going to be the place for you. Like I said, I still don't mess with it too much. I'll find a good deal every now and then, or a source that I can go to. And I've got a couple that I watch, but I haven't necessarily, contacted yet. I'm just not quite ready to play at that level. But once you do, you can. And like I said, those are going to be really hard to find. The good ones are going to be really hard to find. You can find all kinds of sources online, but good ones that are going to get you an actual quality product and a branded product and a good price are a lot harder to find because everybody has access to it. It's just like online retail or online arbitrage. It's going to be harder to find good deals because everybody with the internet has access to it. Let's see. Can't wait for more Delco Wholesale. Hey, they're coming, man. It should be this week. I lost track. Where was I? Online. Major retailers. There are still opportunities at your major retailers, okay? And I don't want people to think that you can't get into those deals. They're a lot harder because, again, a lot of them have that system set up. Doesn't mean there's not a manager that won't cut you a deal, but it just depends on their atmosphere and their I don't want to say, I don't know what the right term is, but their corporate structure, if their corporate structure will let them. I'll be honest with you guys. I'll give you a tip. Hopefully they don't care. Hobby Lobby is not a great reselling for online, okay? But if you have like a local store, a local a swap meet location or anything like that, Hobby Lobby clearances out all of their seasonal inventory, which is about a third of their inventory, at least a quarter, maybe not a third of their inventory. They clearance it out after every single season, and some of them even beforehand. So obviously Christmas decorations, stuff like that, they'll clearance out. Those clearances will go down to 75, 88%, and 90% off. The 90% off is the max that they go. You can get in and talk to your store managers. We did it, and like I said, I was a store manager with them, and we loved it when people did this. You can go in and make a deal with them. Hey, when we hit 90% off, we will call you. You can come in and buy everything at the 90% off. They will leave it on the floor, and you'll have to be there the morning of to be able to buy it and stuff. Some stores will help you box it up, load it up. Some won't. Ours did because we just wanted it out of there. Not everybody. Again, this isn't I don't represent Hobby Lobby anymore, so it could vary from store to store, but they will allow you to come in and like buy all that inventory. And we had several places that did here at my local location that did that. Obviously, you might have to hold on to it, or if it's spring and summer stuff, then that stuff will sell no matter what throughout the year. But your Christmas and Easter and stuff like that, you may not. But that's a retailer that you could probably go in and still get bulk deals from. Again, as a reselling standpoint, I don't recommend it if you're doing online, because again, very little makes it to clearance that's worth reselling online. But locally, and if you have the space to store it and all that stuff, it's an opportunity for you. There are opportunities like that with different retailers. You can find them, but it's just a lot harder to do, especially if they're any corporate owned company, because they have a setup that they want to have their liquidation go through, and most of the time it's going to be hard. So I don't want to say it's not possible. I have had one or two deals that I've worked out. It wasn't a continuing source, but I've had one or two deals that worked for that, and it can be done. Let's see, major retailers. The other thing is manufacturers, and this is one that is awesome to get into, because you can possibly get stuff that isn't even just how do I put it? It's not just old stock. It may be something that you can buy from a supplier and continue to buy from them, and it's at their cost. They're selling it to you as if they were selling it to a retailer like Walmart or anything like that. Those again aren't going to be something you're just going to find. They're not advertised, obviously, or anything like that, but building a connection, you might have a relative or a friend of your dad's or a friend of yours or whoever that works for a company that knows. There's all kinds of ways that you can get into that. And like I said, word of mouth is going to be your best bet. But those are opportunities. I don't have any right now, but I do plan to work on some of those once we get relocated. Again, a lot of the reason why my wholesale deals aren't as often is because I don't have the space for them. So I'll be working on some of those and hopefully getting into some suppliers that can supply me with product. That way you can buy 100 of them. When you sell out, you can go and buy 100 more from them, and it's a kind of a reoccurring SKU. But the best way to build into that is just, again, going to be people that local manufacturers maybe that you can find that are smaller, that might have an opportunity for you. They may have a big order canceled that you can go in and buy that inventory from. But again, extremely hard to find, and you just have to do word of mouth. There's no shortcut to it. That's the whole thing with wholesale and buying bulk deals. There is no shortcut to this. There's no single answer, and if anybody is telling you there is and they're trying to charge you, then that's how they're making their money. Okay, there's no single easy answer to coming into these deals. Doesn't mean it's not easy, okay, but there's no easy answer to it. The reason why I say it's not easy, or doesn't mean it's not easy, is because I'm going to tell you about a deal that I walked into completely out of the blue, and it's just an example. Okay, first up though, we do have these Nike Air Force Zoom Trouts, size 9, no, Trout 9s. These are those ones we picked up from the Burlington sale. They're like the rainbow color. They're actually kind of cool. Not too rainbowy, I guess. But we paid, what did we pay for these? I think we paid $22 for them and sold for $55. These are tanking, obviously, but with baseball season being in play right now, they're still selling pretty good. And if you have good sizes, they're still sell. I'm not the cheapest price on these guys by any sense, but I do have a bulk listing with variations, and that seems to help. We've talked about that in the past, but we did sell those. Those are going out to Nogales, Arizona, which is where we sent those last shoes that the guy tried to scam me out of. But anyway, all right. Let's see let's get back on track here for me. If I can remember where I'm going, guys. What have I talked about? So you can walk into bulk deals. It happens. I'm going to tell you about one. I'm not going to name names or places. It's a source that I still have, but it's not as consistent as I would like it to be. Let's put it that way. It's kind of hit or miss. I never know when it's going to happen, and I've got a lot of competition for it. Let's put it that way. But when I first originally walked into this deal, literally walking in a mall, okay, as a retail location, walking in a mall, seen a sign for clearance, everything on this table, $10. Um, it was a crazy deal at $10 even. And so I started looking through some of the stuff they had there on the table, and it was stuff that I would buy at the $10 mark anyways. A lot of it was, but there was a bunch of it. Okay, there's a lot of items, several hundred items on the table, and so obviously smaller stuff. And I just literally was just walking by and seeing the sign. Was in that particular location, decided to go ahead and grab some of them. I ended up with like 40 or 50 items, and I asked one of the associates that walked over, asked if I needed help or anything. I said, hey, buying a bunch of these, would you guys be willing to do a better price if I did better? It's going against what I just told you about never asking for the deal first. But in that particular instance, obviously they wanted it gone. They had a big sign out in the mall, like, they wanted these particular items gone. So I asked them, hey, if not, no big deal. I'll still buy some. Just didn't know if you guys would be able to do a better deal if I took more. He went and talked to the manager. Manager came out and said, hey, let me know how many you want, and then we'll talk a deal. So I grabbed about 50 of them, put them on the counter. The manager walks up and he goes, oh, wow, you wanted a lot of them. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is, if you're talking to a manager, when you say, hey, I want to buy a bunch of these, most people, that's 10 items. Okay. It's not anything that's going to really help them out. They might give you $1 off or something, but it's not going to help them out. Put all those up on the table, and he's like, oh, wow, you want a lot. I said, yeah. I said, I'm still looking too. I'd still be willing to grab more if you can get me a better price. So he named me a price. We started at $10. That's what was on the table. He named me a price of $6 for all of them if I took every single one of them. He made that offer to me. I wasn't offering to buy all. I told him, it's like, if the price is right, hey, I'll take them all as a joke, kind of. But it wasn't something that I was joking with him. I was letting him know, hey, I'm going to buy, but I might be willing to buy more if you have a better deal. $10 dropped down to $6. These were buys that I was already going to buy for $10. Okay, I wasn't going to buy all of them, but I was going to buy several for $10. Dropped clear down to $6. That was almost half off. I bought the entire amount. Ended up being over 1,000 items of this particular thing. There were some variations in them and stuff like that. It wasn't all just one item per se, but it was one type of item, some variations in it. That bulk deal led me into a couple more from that particular source. And like I said, I still have that source. That's why I'm not telling you what the item is or where it was located. But I haven't had one in a while, just because of the way that store operates. I still go in and talk to that manager a couple of times a year at least, if not once a month if I'm in the area. If I have any need for anything that particular manager sells and I need it right away and I'm not trying to find the cheapest price or whatever, I'll go in and buy from him. I'll talk to them, talk to the employees. All the employees there know who I am. I built that relationship that way. If they ever need it, they know they can call me. And that's how my second buy from them went. I didn't know they were even doing it. He called me and said, hey, I've got all these items again. If you're interested in it, let me know. Went down the store and made a big buy from him again. So you can walk into deals. That's just one example of how I found one of my particular buys. You can walk into them, but they're very rare. You just have to keep an eye out. And like I said, not every manager, not every person, whoever's running that business is going to be willing to do that, but some of them will. And I'll be honest with you, the smart ones will. And the reason why I say that is because they're going to recoup their capital. They're going to get that stuff out of it. You're solving a problem for them, and they're going to keep you on their list and let you know, hey, if I've got this problem again, I know I have an easy out for it. As a buyer from these bulk deals, you have to be willing and able to be that easy source. Okay. If they contact you, that's why I don't recommend building relationships or trying to build relationships above your means. For instance, I'm not going to go try to get an online deal right now because my capital buildup isn't there to make a $30,000 purchase a couple times a year. I don't want to build that relationship, because if I build that relationship and I can't take something, they're going to go to the next person, and that person's going to get the deal from then on. That's how it is. As a retail manager, if someone wanted to buy all the clearance out from me, I contacted them. If they only wanted to buy certain seasons and I had another person that would buy all of them every single time, I'm calling the person that will buy them every single time. So you have to build a connection with that. You want to build that connection, but you want to be able to take advantage of it every single time if you can. I'm not saying you buy everything from them, okay? If it's not profitable for you and it's not a good deal, then it's probably not a good connection to have anyways. But if you have a very profitable connection with somebody that is offering you something that you can make money on, make sure you're able to do it. So for instance, my hat particular buyer, one of my hat sources right now, I can go in every single week and they've got product for me. I'm not their number one source. I know I've got some guys above me that are getting way better deals and way more way more product than I am, and that's just because I don't have the ability to go in and buy as much inventory as they have all the time, and they are. So I'm still getting great product from them, but I could be doing more if I had the capital. I don't like building relationships like that, but I will just because I know they're okay with it and they're still going to offer me. For instance, the apparel lineup I have. Nobody is buying that apparel lineup from this particular supplier. That's why they offered it to me. I don't want apparel, but I'm being able to sell it out to the wholesale to the group, and they're being able to sell it. And so I'm being able to move that product out. It's helping out everybody. It's solving the problem, getting it out of their location, their warehouse. I'm making money on it a little bit, not much, but a little bit through the it's quick, easy turnaround with wholesaling it out to the group, and then the wholesale group is selling it individually and making their profit from there. So long skew of information there. Hopefully I'm not repeating myself too much, guys, but I want to give as much information as I can, and that's just the variation of the different sources. We better package another order, otherwise I'm going to be here all day, guys. Let's move on to the next couple things. We've got another section of topics, or not topics, but where'd my mouse go? There we go. We do want to talk about in the bulk buying. It still relates to bulk buying, what you should and shouldn't buy. But let's first go ahead and ship out a couple more orders so I can get caught up here. Any questions so far, guys? I'd be happy to share as much information as I can. Again, I am not an expert. I'm not trying to say that I have all the answers. I'm just sharing with you what has helped me in building these relationships and getting these bulk deals. If I haven't covered, like I said, basically the last thing that we want to cover is what you should and shouldn't be buying in bulk. So that'll be our next topic. But if you have any questions on anything that we've talked about that I haven't covered, let me know in the comments or in the chat right now, and I'll answer those questions. And here in just a second, we'll move on to the third point once I ship a couple more orders, because we do have some orders to get out. The next sold item is this Dallas Cowboys hat. This is actually from one of my first bulk hat buys. So I've been holding it for a while, but we did get that $13 into $49.99, and that is going out to Arlington. We're going to be talking, like I said, about stuff that I have bought in bulk, and I'm going to share some deals that I've gotten with you, and some bad deals that I've gotten to kind of help you out with it. Hats is one of my favorite ones, obviously. You guys hear me talk about it all the time. You see me ship them all the time. But it is a slow-moving category. So, for instance, guys, if you know kind of the golden rule with reselling, I don't want to say golden rule, but what most people consider is you should have about a 10% sell-through rate. So if you have, or a 1% sell-through rate, excuse me. So if you have 100 listings, you should be selling 1 item a day, 1,000 listings, 10 items a day, whatever. Hats are not one of those, guys. I have about 2,000. No, I've got, I think I looked it up. Crystal, how many did I tell you I had the other day? I think I had 1,500 listings, 1,500 listings of just hats. And I sell like on average, well, let's see, we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I sold 10 hats. So what is that? 3 a day, roughly 3 to 4 a day, probably is my average. So I should be selling 10 a day, but I'm not. So it's not as quite as high of a resale, but they take up so little space. I love selling them, and they do sell and they hold their value really well. So that's why I don't mind investing a lot more money into hats than some other categories. Next up on the sold list, we've got some Gymshark joggers. Again, from that crazy deal, we have like $2 or $3 in these, selling them for $27.99 for these particular ones. This is one that a lot of people might consider a bulk deal. It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot, Crystal. As far as the hat quantities, I have over 5,000 now. I did look it up, which is insane. So not that many different SKUs, but that many is insane. Crazy amount there. If I can bother you guys to hit that like button, I greatly appreciate it. If you're still with us hanging out, helps out a lot, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the video so far. Like I said, we do have a third point that we do want to talk about bulk selling. That's going to be what we're going to buy, but I've got to get a few more orders out because I kind of quit while I was sitting there. We want to keep the variation. Plus, like I said, guys, if you have questions, please let me know. I would love to hear what questions you guys have, or comments, or just anything in general. Let's see. Crystal said, for your info, I picked up a couple hats and cleats at a yard sale because of you. Haha. wearing off on you. Hey, that is the one thing that I will actually look for used as well whenever I'm in thrift stores or something like that. I still look through hats and I still look through shoes. I just enjoy selling them. I'm weird. I don't know. I probably should have made sure those were a size small before I packed them, but we're gonna hope I did my work ahead of time correctly. Next up, we do have another hat sold from the Wholesale, or my connection with that, Yankees 47 brand. Just a navy blue, really clean looking hat, but it's navy blue. Sold that one. I'm gonna give you a little secret, guys. We paid $3 for these from a buy, and I want to tell you why. So these hats, particularly here, either have very minor defects or they are one-offs, and that's what the difference is. In a lot of these hats that I get for a lot cheaper price, it's because they only have like 1 or 2 or 3 or something like that of them. They don't have a higher quantity of them. So that's another thing to consider when you're buying bulk. And we'll talk about that here in just a second as far as margins and should you be buying all one item versus multiple items. But like I said, the reason why I get these so cheap is either there might be a minor defect or a scuff or something like that on them, or dirt scuff, and a lot of those will clean up, or they are onesies and twosies, and they just want them out of the place. So that's how I get those. And I actually picked up some more of those this past week. Those are the ones that I'm getting offered, kind of like the scraps, basically, is what I'm getting offered from that particular source right now because I'm not able to take all of their inventory. So I'm getting offered the scraps and stuff. There's still money in it, but like I said, these are ones and twosies, so it takes more time to list. So that's why the price is lower, but at the same time, it takes me more time. Let's see. Joseph asked, or says, so you pay for shipping with the USPS boxes and save on buying boxes? Yeah, so I have access to a commercial account for shipping. That's why I ship USPS. It's the same rate as what you get most generally from your Ground Advantage and stuff. But I get the opportunity to use the free boxes and a little bit faster shipping speeds for my buyers. So that is why, and that's also why you can see I have all my labels printed out and I'm having to manually add the tracking numbers in. That is why. But yeah, free boxes, I keep seeing stuff and I'm just like waiting for the announcement for the Ground Advantage boxes. Again, not 100% confirmed that that's going to happen, but there's a lot of good pointers out there for it. Braylon can't believe you're live right now. Tell her hi. Hey, Braylon. How you doing? I am live. I'm live all the time. Your mom probably doesn't want you listening to me. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. Pete, did you discover the defect yourself or the store will tell you? The defects a lot of times are on them. They have a category that they sell at me. Like I said, the one-offs and defects and stuff like that. And I pick through those. So if they're like severely damaged, then I don't buy them. But they don't tell me that. It's just known. They tell me that those hats are either going to be one-offs or damaged. So it's up to me to decide what I want to buy and stuff. But yeah, most of the time my source will sort them out for me to some extent. So I'm pretty safe with it. And at $3, even if it is slightly damaged, I can list it. I've been selling damaged hats like crazy recently for like $15. Not everybody cares if they're wearing it on the daily. They don't care. So it's pretty nice. I actually have a hat, a black one, similar to this one that I wear around the house, or if I'm like planning on getting sweaty, that is damaged. It was sewn incorrectly in one portion of it, and for $3, can't go wrong. Let's see here. Where am I at? All right. One more little quick topic here. You guys hear me talk all the time about how keeping your inventory categorized and where you can find it easy is very good. Unfortunately, I didn't do a great job of that. I don't do a great job of that all the time. I try my best to. This is one of those items. I had an old Motorola phone. I actually had about 6 old phones that I decided to go ahead and list for the fun of it. Some of them were cracked, some of them were damaged, but they all worked, and they're all clean ESNs. Sold this one within a couple minutes of listing it, actually, and sold it for $20. It's an old Razor M. I don't know if anybody has those. And as you can see, the phone is not in here. I took the phone out to erase the data and pictures and everything on it. And out of the 5 phones that I have listed, I misplaced this one. Have all other 4, know exactly where they are, found them, put them in the correct spot. lost that one, and I'm so aggravated because now I'm probably gonna have to cancel that order. I got one more spot I need to look, but so frustrating. After all that talk about not canceling orders, that's where I'm at with that. So, and I also had to cancel another order on Amazon because I sold it apparently at some point and didn't get it removed. So, not a great weekend. Not a great weekend in reselling for me, but we're going to skip over that and talk about our next topic or our next point in the wholesale buys category right after we ship or get this one boxed up or tell you guys about it. This is another hat buy, $13 into, let's see, this one actually sold $49.99 for this one here, going out to Cody in Wisconsin. Atlanta Braves, pretty interesting hat actually. It's not pinwheel. I don't know what they call this, or is it pinwheel? Yeah, it is pinwheel. Okay, pinwheel style. But sold that one actually for under sticker. They're pretty ugly. They didn't sell very well, obviously, and so they're taking a minute for me to sell. So we did drop the price a little bit on those, but still, $50 is not bad. Not a bad sale at all. All right, let's move on. What should and shouldn't you be buying in bulk? Obviously, if you're buying in bulk in your niche area, then there's a couple main things that you want to keep an eye out for, okay? Obviously, how many you're going to have to buy. That's the key. The more you buy, the better you get, the better deal you get, as a general rule of thumb. Now, that does not mean that you should go in and buy everything that the seller has or whoever's selling it to you. I've got offered a lot of bulk deals from some of my connections that I turned down either because I didn't have the room for them or it was something that was super specific. For instance, we're going to use an example of shoes. I've never had an opportunity to buy bulk shoes, but it's a perfect example of why I probably wouldn't buy bulk shoes unless it was a wide variety. Shoes take up a lot of space. So in bulk buys, you have to consider a couple main things. How much it's going to cost you, obviously, what your buy cost is per item. You have to look at how much space of your inventory space it's going to take. If you're selling out of your home, that's very limited. If you've got a storage unit, you've got some more possibilities. But if you're buying, bulk shoes, for instance, if you're going to buy 100 pairs of bulk shoes, that is a pallet of shoes. 100 pairs is mostly how many you're going to have in a pallet. So it's going to be a 4x4, at least 4x6 pallet stacked probably 6 foot high. That's about 100 shoes, maybe a little lower than that, but 5 to 6 feet high. That's 100 pairs of shoes. That takes up a lot of space. And with shoes, obviously, if you have a variety of them, that's not a bad idea. When we bought the Kohl's in the Kohl's clearance, we ended up with a pallet total of shoes, but they were a large variety and we knew we could sell, they're going to be able to. If they're going to offer you a whole pallet of 100 shoes and it's all one style, might be different colors or might be different sizes, but it's all one style, you have to consider how long it's going to take you to sell that many, and also if it's where you're going to put it. If it's a high sell-through rate item, if you go and look on eBay and you're selling, there's 50 listings and there's 100 sold, then obviously that's going to move really quick for you. So you can afford to buy more. It's not going to take up as much of your space. But if you get stuck with those shoes, then that's going to take up your space and you're going to run into the same issue that the person you bought it from, most likely, if you don't do your research and make sure the sell-through rate and the margins are there. When buying wholesale, like I said, depends on the item, but that is the whole thing, that why you're probably getting the wholesale deal more than anything is because it's taking up space and they need it out of their way. So you have to make sure that you can afford to use that space and that it's not going to block you from getting a better deal later on or whatever. Because obviously, if you have a 20,000 foot warehouse, that's not going to be an issue for you. But if you've got 5,000 square feet of space for bulk stuff, and you have to sit on something for 2 years, then it's maybe not the best investment. So considering the space is one of the key things. The next thing is, obviously, we covered it, sell-through rate. Making sure that the item has a sell-through rate. For instance, this hat, if I'm using this as an example for everything, but this hat here, if you can buy 500 of these hats and you're seeing that they're selling maybe 10 to 15 every 90 days, that's not a bad deal. But if you're only selling one of these hats every 90 days and you've got an opportunity to buy 100 of them, you have to think, can you hold 100 of these hats for what was that? Did I say just say one a month? That's 12 a year. That's going to take you 10 years to sell all these hats. So you want to make sure that it's something that you can get rid of quick enough, or be willing to hold it for that long. I don't mind holding 100 of these hats, even if I only sold 2 a week, or one a week or something like that. That's 50 a year. I don't mind holding that 100 of these because it only takes up this much space. Okay, but 100 pairs of shoes that sell 2 a week or 1 a week is going to take up a lot more space. You have to make sure that's an opportunity for you. The other thing with buying wholesale, obviously, is making sure that the market is going to hold. Okay, if you're planning on holding something for a year, say these hats, you're planning on holding them for a year. Is this a losing team? Okay, it's not. But if it was a losing team, is the value going to go down? It's kind of hard to describe with that, but Funko Pops are a great idea. Here you go. If you buy 1,000 of these Funko Pops, you get them for $2 a piece. Okay, that's a great deal. For a Funko Pop, this one here sold for like $16, but it's taken me 3 months, 4 months to sell this. If you've got 100 of them, even at $2 a piece, it's a great deal, but it is not worth buying because you're going to be sitting on them for years. You're never going to get rid of all of them, and it's going to take up a lot of space. So making sure the deal makes sense in that regard. Don't ever go above your means when buying a bulk deal, no matter what. If you've got $500 in the bank and set aside for bulk deals, that's what you spend. You don't go digging into everything else. There's very rarely ever a deal that's just that you're not going to be able to find something later on. And I feel like a lot of people get into a rush. I did at first, buying bulk deals because I felt like there wasn't, I'm going to miss this opportunity. What is that? FOMO, fear of missing out. That can be major in reselling. You have to make sure the deal makes sense. You have to make sure all that is right before you make the deal. And that goes for anything you're buying. But when you're buying in bulk, like I said, you're emotionally going to be buying a couple hundred of those items. You have to make sure the deal is worth it and is going to make you profit. Otherwise, you're just tying up inventory. Bulk deals tie up more inventory than anything. One of my best deals, like I said, was the hats and the chips and stuff like that. The chips, the bulk deal that I did with chips, I literally sold in, I think, 3 months, all 15 pallets, or all 9 pallets that I got. It didn't even take 3 months. I think it took 2 months. All 9 pallets of that product out in 2 months. That's a crazy sell-through rate. That's a great opportunity. I didn't have those 9 pallets sitting in my garage or in my storage unit or whatever for very long, and I recouped it. If I bought 9 pallets of the shampoo that I bought a pallet of, I still have over half of that pallet of shampoo. I bought that over a year ago, well over a year ago now, and I still have it. That was not a great buy. I make great money on it, guys. I sell it all the time over here. Oops, that one's empty. This one's all busted up. That's why it's in here. But I sell these. I pay 50 cents a piece for them, or I sell 2 of them, so $1 for 2 of them, and I'm selling them for $16. It's great profit, but I probably wouldn't have bought the conditioner because I literally have a half a pallet of it. It's not selling fast enough. The shampoo sells fine, but the conditioner doesn't, and it's just taking up space. I could use that space to store a lot more hats. I could use that space to sell shoes. That space, I could flip that space multiple times in the time it's taking me to sell that shampoo and make more money with it. Your space is just as important as your money. And even though I only have $100, I've made my profit. I've made my money back from that deal. So I could literally go and throw all the shampoo or whatever away, and I've still made my money from it. So it's not a terrible deal in that aspect. But if I'm sitting on that shampoo and I've still got money wrapped up in that shampoo, I could be flipping that money as well, not just the space. So make sure the deal is worth it for you. Make sure that it's a solid sell-through item. It is what it is. Now, the reason you would buy bulk, and one thing that a lot of people misunderstand, is for bulk deals, you don't have to have as high margins. I don't want to give the impression that you should just go buy stuff that you're only making 20% margins on. But if you know it is a high selling item that sells fast, that is just, it's going to move for you, you can afford to go and buy at a lower margin rate for you. Trying to think of an example. I can't think of anything. Well, here we go. My margins on these Under Armour boxer briefs are, I think I make $8, $7 maybe off of these, and I paid like 10 or 12 for them. That's a lot lower than what I try to keep my other stuff at. I try to double my money basically. So Crystal says, gotta head out to an appointment. Have fun with the rest of your show. Appreciate it, Crystal. Thanks for joining. I do appreciate it. So my margins are a lot lower for this, but I know these sell consistently. I know they sell all the time, and I know I can buy 100 of these. If I had the opportunity, I could buy 100 of these. They're gonna sell. I'm gonna make $7 a piece. I list them once, and that's all the time I have into it. Shipping them is super fast. I throw them in the box. I ship the same thing every single day. You get faster at it. It doesn't take as much of your time. So you can afford to make less margin if you're buying in bulk. But again, I only recommend that if it's something that you know is going to sell well. So if I had a supplier that offered me 1,000 of these, I would probably buy it, even at the same price that I paid for them. I would probably buy them. Not quite, but it's an idea. Okay, I would buy, say they have 500 of these at, $8 a piece, and I'm going to only be making $6 or $8 a piece. I would still buy that because I know this is a constant seller, and it sells quickly. You can look that up through sell-through rates on eBay or on Amazon, however you want to do it. You can afford to take less margins because let's face it, guys. If I'm buying 1,000 used items, I have to make 1,000 listings. If I buy 1,000 new items that are all the same item, that's one listing. And so I don't have, say it takes me a minute, I don't have 1,000 minutes to list all those items. I only have a minute to list 1,000 items. So you have to take into consideration your time and stuff like that when you're looking at the margin rates to make sure that it matches there. Less work to list and ship means you can afford to take a little bit less margin if it's a good seller. But again, don't risk that, okay? Don't think, oh, it might sell pretty well. Have the numbers to back it up. Make sure you do your research before you make that buy. Quick selling depending on storage and how often available. That's the other thing, guys. I like to get an idea from a supplier when I'm purchasing something from them or setting up a deal, how often that deal might be available. Again, to make sure that I'm going to be able to be that person to take full advantage of it. If they're going to have 1,000 items for me every week, then I'm probably not going to be able to maintain that. I might make a deal, I might buy one or two, but I'm going to be very upfront with them and tell them, hey, I'm going to see how this goes. I'll hit you up if I need some more, and we'll see if you're still willing to make a deal with me. But if they're only doing it once a year, then just knowing that allows you to plan for the next buy. You're not always going to be able to. My hat source, not the one that I'm using right now, but one of my other hat sources is very sporadic. It just varies on the time of the year and stuff, and I never know if I'm actually going to get the next deal or not. That's okay, because then I know how to plan for it. I know I should have a couple $1,000s saved up for that deal if it comes in. But if I have something else come up that's just as good or better, then I'm going to do it. And if he pops up with it, I'm just going to be out, so to speak. Just showing live, what's a solid sell-through rate to you? 100%. So I mean, if you look and there's 100 listings and 100 have sold, that's extremely solid. 50% sell-through rate for me, it depends on what I'm buying, but I'll buy with the rate for that. It just varies on what you're selling and what category. Obviously, electronics and stuff like that do great. Anything, small appliances, stuff like that with a good profit margin, the sell-through rate is a lot higher. Clothing, shoes, hats, stuff like that is way slower. Like a good sell-through rate for a hat is like 10%. You got 10 listings, or no, I wouldn't say that, probably 20%. If you got 5 listings up and 1 sold, then that's a decent sell-through for a hat. Doesn't mean it's going to sell quick, but it just is a good sell-through. It just varies on what you have. But if I see anything with like 100% sell-through rate, then I'm going to probably make that deal. I feel like that's a very, very safe. And when you're doing bulk deals, I would say it depends on how long you want to hold it. Okay, how many items that they have and how long you want to hold it on what the sell-through rate is. If it's got 100% sell-through rate, that means, again, it varies. So if you've only got 6 listings, it's 6 solds. But if you've got hundreds of solds and hundreds of listings, then it's probably a higher selling item. That's obviously you're going to move more quantity with that versus that item that's got 2 listings and 2 solds. Okay, that's a good sell-through rate, but that doesn't mean it's a high volume play. It doesn't mean it's selling a lot of it. And that's what you have to make sure and check and do some research. That's why I don't recommend bulk deals for anybody that isn't settled in reselling. Okay, get a year or 2 under your belt. Get comfortable with sell-through rates. Get comfortable buying. Get to that point where if you have a niche area, for instance, me and hats. Not saying I don't comp hats, but a lot of these hats that I buy, I get a great price on to begin with, but I don't have to worry about it. I know, this particular brand and this particular team is going to do well. And that just comes from research. That's what you need to have before you even try to go into bulk buying. Bulk buying is not a beginner's game. It is definitely something that is kind of a level 3. I have 3 different tiers I consider in my mind for reselling. You've got your used market and your one-off items, thrifting, Goodwills, anything like that, resale, even bin stores. That's a good level one, what I would call level one or a beginner. Intermediate is going to be your online arbitrage, retail arbitrage. Um, you're going to have to pay more for your inventory, so that's a little bit more risky. But again, you get better quality product, better selling product, stuff like that. That's kind of that tier 2, middle tier, intermediate seller. Definitely, retail arbitrage and then online arbitrage to some extent. But even on some online arbitrage, I would consider level 3 or hard. And that is going to be, some of your online big bulk, buying hundreds of, pairs of underwear when they come up on sale on online arbitrage, or your bulk deals. There's more risk to it, but as long as you do your research and know your products and stuff, you should be okay with it. But that's a level 3. You definitely want to have some experience before you start doing that. Hopefully that answered your question a little bit there, kid. I appreciate it. If you guys have any other questions, let me know. So yeah, finding stuff that quick sells. Again, if you're buying 1,000 of them and you know you're going to sell them fast, and that's worth it. But don't buy 1,000 of an item that doesn't look like you're going to sell it for more, a year, 2 years, 3 years, unless you've got the storage room in the space to store that. That's what kind of determines it for me. Let's see. Yeah, I think we use the pallets of shoes, for example. I'm not going out and doing bulk buys of shoes because I don't have room for it. I just can't do it. So I don't want to build that connection or anything, to that extent. I might go in and talk to them or find, if I do find it just pops up or something, then I'll talk to them and maybe talk to them about getting their one-offs and stuff like that I can handle to build that. But I'm not out there looking for bulk deals on shoes because I don't have the space for it. Again, not all bulk deals are worth buying. You get offer, especially from bin stores and stuff like that. They want to offload stuff. That can be great, but if they're trying to bulk sell you a bunch of hats at $15 a piece, yes, hats are great, and a bulk deal on hats is great, but $15 a piece is not worth it. Don't get that FOMO. Don't get that fear of missing out and overspending for it. Sometimes you have to walk away from the deal. I had a hat deal that I really wanted to close on with some great inventory, but they wanted $15 a piece. Just wasn't there for me. Some of them, yes, would be worth it, but I couldn't go in and buy 1,000 of those hats and risk, $15 a piece, because there were going to be some in there that I couldn't even sell for $15, let alone make a profit on top of it. And I had to walk away. There was some great inventory in that deal, like some fantastic inventory, but they wouldn't sell it to me for a cheaper price, and they only offered me that price if I bought everything. And I just couldn't do it. So I hate to walk away from that, but at the same time, you have to make smart business choices. Because again, if I would have bought it, I would have been sitting on thousands upon thousands of dollars of inventory that was going to take forever to sell, and some of it I wasn't going to make my money back on. So don't be afraid to walk away from them. That's all my notes. If I've missed anything, let me know as far as your reselling. We've got some other topics I want to talk about. So I'm trying a little bit different, guys. I wanted to get into the bulk of the deal and kind of talk to you guys about the main topic here right in the beginning. Hopefully you guys stick around for the rest. But we're just trying it out, and like I said, I feel like this video may do pretty good after the live's finished. So want to make sure people don't have to watch through all the random day-to-day stuff that we like to talk about here on the show. But if you have any questions or anything that I missed, anything that you feel like I missed, or any opinions, let me know in the chat. Appreciate it. Let me know in the comment box if you're rewatching later, and I will definitely get back with you. But that kind of covers the bulk deals, and my opinion on it, how I would recommend going out and getting into it. I think I covered most of my ones that I've discussed that I'm willing to discuss. Trying to think if I missed any. Like I said, I've done a lot of deals with bin stores. I've done liquidation companies, local liquidation companies. Your private local stuff is where your best opportunities are, or not, I shouldn't say best opportunities. Your most likely places to find opportunities. That's not to say you can't find them elsewhere, but that's probably where I would start if you're looking at getting into bulk buys and others, or if you're just interested in smaller bulk deals. For instance, let me give you guys a little plug here. All right, and a little sneak peek for a few of you that are in the group. I don't have the good stuff here, so there will be better stuff actually. So let me see here. Sorry, I'm off camera a little bit, but we're going to talk about some stuff. This is some bulk deals that I've been working on for some of the guys over, or ladies and gentlemen, over in our Discord group, Bread and Butter. If you're interested in that, there is a link in the description to sign up. It is $39 a month, but we share leads, help each other out, have lots of really, really solid resellers over there that have been in the game for a long time that help out. All kinds of stuff. We call out online leads, in-store leads. But one of the other things that we do, that we offer when we can, are some wholesale deals. And basically this is going to be, sellers that want to either get rid of some inventory that they aren't moving. And most of the time it's at a price that you can still make a profit on, or it may even be less than what they paid for it. So it just depends. But we have some opportunities over there. Adam is the owner of the group. He does some hat wholesale over there, as well as some other sellers, as for instance myself, that do some as well. And one of those that I've been doing recently has been sporting apparel. So we have been getting in some good inventory for that. Like for instance, these Lakers women's tees here. We've got most of the stuff is name brand. I'm not going to go into detail on everything. We've got some cool stuff, unique stuff coming in too for apparel. We've got these bibs for kids and stuff that we got. As well as just some more tees and stuff like that that we've been able to pick up from my apparel connection that we are going to be wholesaling out in the group. Guys, when I wholesale this stuff out, we're talking most of this stuff I'm selling for like $5 a piece, $5-6 a piece for officially branded stuff. This isn't, this isn't knockoff. This is not Chinese stuff. This is actual good solid inventory. And the reason why I'm wholesaling it, like I mentioned before, is I have a connection to get it at a great price, and I don't list very many clothing. I don't have the time to, and I hate doing it. So for me, it's just a quick way to make a little bit of money to cover my time. I try to help out the group. They've helped me out a lot. They also are kind of an affiliate with the channel, or they offer me an affiliate link down below. So I do make money off of that if you do sign up. I'm not telling everybody to sign up, and it's not for everybody, okay? That's why I always recommend, if you have questions on it or are interested, to message me first. Let me talk to you about it and see if it's even something for you, because it's not for everybody. But it's been it has helped my reselling journey so much, especially with the retail and online arbitrage stuff. So if you're interested in that, but that's just a sneak peek of what's kind of we do over there, and that's other places you can find wholesale deals. Facebook groups. There's a lot of Facebook groups for resellers. I don't know which ones to join. I'm not going to promote any of them, but there's certain ones that you can join that, if they get a bunch of inventory they want to get rid of, they'll sell in there. There's other avenues of finding smaller deals and so on, that you don't shy away from. It's a great way to get started, and there's all kinds of opportunities out there in different ways. But like I said, that's just some of that product to some of the stuff we're going to be selling wholesale over in the Bread and Butter channel. If you are interested in that, like I said, shoot me a message. Let's talk before you just sign up. Unless you just want to give it a shot, like I said, you can always cancel anytime for that, but it is $39 a month. There is a link in the description as well. Guys, I want to be very clear. All the links in the description are affiliate links. I do make a small commission off of those to help support the channel. So if you want to do that, appreciate it. We got a new camera that we're getting ready to buy for the stream that I think is going to be a really, really big improvement, and that will allow me to have my phone back instead of using that. So all the money and proceeds that we get from those affiliate links and stuff like that help to build the channel. So if you want to support and you need any of that stuff, that's a way to do it as well. Enough self-promotion. Hit the Instagram button. There's a link down there too. Need you guys to follow me over there. I feel like I'm talking to like 15 people, but if you haven't, follow us over there. I appreciate it. We'll be getting a Facebook page up soon as well, if you prefer that. Next sold item, we got the hat here going out to Derek. Let's see, Derek. There we go. And we sold that one for $39.99. Paid $13 for it as well on average for that one. Oh, I already read that comment. No comments, no questions, guys. How's your guys' week been? I didn't ask that at the beginning of the video. So how's your guys' week been in reselling? I've got some more topics, guys. What do you guys want to talk about? Let's see what's on the list. We've got the eBay glitches. We've got the Vindu's new feature for cross-listing. We've got eBay's new calculated shipping. That's a good one. Our big idea. I don't want to cover it yet. I'm going to leave this to the end, because those of you that are dedicated to the channel, appreciate it. You watching all the way through. So, but I do have a big project that I'm going to probably be taking on to help expand my reselling business. And it's something you might consider if you are very niched down. So for instance, me, I have a lot of hats. That's what I'm going to focus on. And we've got another sales channel, or not channel, but a sales avenue that we're going to look into doing here very soon. So I'm going to talk about that at the end of the video because I want to actually make sure I'm not just rambling about it. But yeah, that's the other big topic. But what else should we talk about? What did we do? What did I do this weekend? I think I kind of covered that. Did some listing, did on your sourcing. We also did have a cool call out in Bread and Butter for some discount air filters, buying like car air filters for like 50 cents. Crazy call out over there that we put in just the general chat to make sure it didn't get tanked too bad. But ended up buying, I think, 100. Well, I bought a lot more, but some of them got canceled. I ended up with about 100 air filters that we are still getting in. I've got a shipment coming in today as well from an online retailer. Like as a name brand filters for 50 cents to $1, $1.25 for some of them. They're going to sell for probably 15 to 20 bucks. It's a little bit of a volume play per se, but I think it was worth it. Only had to invest like 100 bucks into it. I think I spent $120 and got like 100 filters. So we may cover that later, but we did get that buy and they are coming in. Maybe you'll start seeing those selling here pretty soon. That'd be pretty cool. But we did have that. Again, not my area. I don't necessarily do car parts, but I do know they sell. I've sold them quite often. And hopefully these sell pretty quick. They take up a little more space than I was hoping because I didn't know exactly how big each of them were. And some of them are big, but not too bad. Not too bad on as far as the space aspect of it goes. We'll see how quickly they sell. That'll be the determining factor. So that was a pretty cool buy, something different. And like I said, it was a quick call out over there. Let's see. These are the Converse Chuck Taylors we bought from the previous sale. I can't remember if I bought these online. No, they have stickers, so they were in store. Bought these in store during the Kohl's clearance event. I think we paid $22 for these and sold them for $69.99. So these are those. They're not the leather; they're just the canvas. But just a really nice standard Converse shoe that sold. If I can get it back in the box here. Like I said, 22 into 70. Good sell through, and they're selling quick. Converse always sell good for me. I don't really have too many issues with Converse. They take a little bit longer than like Nike to sell, but I think they're right on par with Adidas. And if you didn't know, they're actually owned by Nike, so can't sell them overseas. That's a topic in itself. Let's see. Going out to Stephanie in Ohio. Uh-oh. I don't see tag. Oh, right there, right in front of me. Crazy. But yeah, that's all that's been going on. Sorry, that spaced out there a little bit. That's all that we did this week. Like I said, we got a lot of listings up, so that'll help out hopefully. Scheduled those out. Got about a week worth of listings done. Well, 2 weeks worth, I guess I should say. Worth of listings done in a week, so that was good to get caught back up. eBay's glitching. I don't know if you guys have seen anything on this, but eBay's been having some glitches. A couple of them, for instance, buyers, their shipping address is like reverting back to their what do you call it? Their default or something like that. Like they selected a shipping address, but whenever the order went through, it selected their default one. I've had 2 instances of this, and I don't know if that's what happened or not. The buyers they said it went to the wrong address, or there wasn't an insufficient amount on the address. And for one, it was sent to an apartment but didn't have the apartment number. So eBay will cover you for that if that happens. They're going to cover for the most part, they'll cover you, and you don't lose the money. But I did have a couple of those. I've had 2 of those happen over the past month. I don't know if that's related to the glitch or just people just not putting their information in. That could be the case too. But it's been a pretty big glitch, and eBay is aware of it. If it's happened to you, they said to just they started recommending contacting eBay's customer service, of course, and they should be able to get it taken care of for you. But yeah, it's not cool to have that stuff, because what sucks with that is that's a glitch. Obviously, it sucks for the buyer and the seller, if you're out the item or whatever. But it makes you a little bit hesitant on the platform, to be honest, because that's a glitch that's very noticeable. So they've had that. They've had some other issues with offers. Like people are getting offers on stuff that they didn't watch. It may have been something they clicked on, but they haven't watched that item, and they're getting offers sent to them like from the seller. So for instance, I click on this hat and I'm, I clicked on it. No, it's not what I want. Go on, keep scrolling. Later on in the day, they're getting an offer from the seller of that item that they didn't even watch, which shouldn't happen. And that's because people set up, you can set up to where if somebody watches your item, they get you can automatically send an offer, and that's what's happening. So yeah, that glitch is going on too, and that one's not very noticeable. So what other things are going on? I'll be honest with you guys, my sales are terrible this weekend, so I'm a little worried. Hey, is there some glitch going on where my items aren't showing up? Is it something that's affecting the algorithm or whatever? It makes you wonder and question. So it's, even though it may not be a big glitch or may not be an issue that affects you, for me, it still affects me in wondering, what are they not catching right away and what's actually going on. Like I said, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person that's blaming eBay for my slow sales. Okay, you can have slow sales weeks. There's a lot of people right now that are having crazy sales weeks, and there are a lot of people that are having really slow weeks, and that's what's throwing me off a little bit and making me wonder. I'm hoping it's just, luck, and that's why. But, this is our livelihood, so you can't help but sit there and think, am I not getting sales because my items aren't showing up, or eBay is kind of screwing me in the end. So hopefully I can get them fixed and we don't see too many more, because like I said, glitches are one thing that you find, and there's a whole bunch of them with algorithms and stuff like that that you may not find right away that can affect you as a seller. So hope eBay gets back on track. I know some sellers are really worried about it. I'm starting to get a little bit more concerned about it, but we'll see how it goes. This item, again, another hat, Texas Rangers hat. This one here is a 5/8. This is a Mother's Day edition, so it's got the cloud pink undervisor and the cloud pink logo. These guys, if you ever find them anywhere, Mother's Day, Father's Day, special edition, holiday hats, definitely worth picking up. This one here sold for $80. So this is a 2022, so it's a 2-year-old hat. It came out 2 years ago. But yeah, $80. These are retailed for like 45. So definitely a bolo for hats if you ever sign them. Like I said, doesn't mean it has like just any special edition, but especially the Mother's Day, Father's Day. They sometimes release Christmas ones, holiday related ones, special edition ones tend to do really, really well. And they hold their value and go up in value. So definitely worth keeping an eye out for. This one's going out to Kathy Adams. Well, one thing cool about this too is the New Era just released new Mother's Day and Father's Day hats just this past week, and so I think that's why somebody decided to search for it and found mine from 2 years ago. So pretty cool. You never know what's going to boost your sale. I'm pretty sure that's why they found this one, just because they were looking for the new releases, and this one popped up, which is always nice. So really nice sale there. The other thing that's going on in eBay news right now, if you haven't been following anybody else, is the calculated shipping. eBay is now switching over everybody that uses calculated shipping to the discounted rate. This has been a huge thing with me, and I don't want to get into it this video, okay, guys? Calculated versus flat rate versus free shipping. That's probably going to be next week's video, discussing some of those topics. So if you're interested, hit that subscribe button, notification bell, and we'll let you know when that's coming up. But that's probably going to be next week's. But they did change. eBay allowed you to either charge, when you chose calculated shipping, to either charge the customer the retail rate for shipping or the discounted rate. As a reseller of new stuff, and I've always been a free shipping seller, it's never made sense to me why you would calculate shipping or charge the calculated shipping if it was at the retail rate. Because for instance, this item that I'm shipping out here is a Funko Pop. I showed it to you guys already. Sold it for $16.99, sorry, for that Freddy Funko with basketball. That Funko Pop, this particular item, say it cost me $6 to ship this via priority mail. If you go into like a post office and took this box with this item in there and tried to ship it, they're going to charge you like $15. Retail rates are sky high, like almost double half the time of what other shipping rates are. So for me, I've never understood why you would want to charge your customer that. I know people consider it like extra profit, because obviously the customer pays a total of $60 for this item. They might have paid $20 for shipping, $40 for the item. It only costs you $10. You get to pocket the $10. that's fine as a reseller. But if you see this item listed and someone's charging $20 for shipping, and you see somebody else with the exact same item selling it with $10 shipping, the price can come out the exact same. Okay, they both end up $60. So someone's selling $50 plus $10 shipping, or $40 plus $20 shipping. Very few people are going to pay $20 for shipping. It's a mind thing. It's the same price, but it's a mind thing. So why would you charge your customers? I've never understood. Maybe some of you guys do sell like this. If you do, let me know why. Okay, I don't want to bash everybody, but I have never understood why people do that. Like, why would you list it that way? I feel like you run off more customers than you do charging that retail shipping. I understand you get to pocket the money, so to speak, but I've just never understood why you would charge it. Anyway, what eBay is doing is basically, if you don't tell them not to, they're going to switch all of your shipping charges over to the discounted rate. So if you have calculated shipping on your listings, and you don't tell them not to, they are going to change that from a retail rate to discounted rate. So the buyer is going to pay less for shipping. Obviously, that's causing an uproar because those that do have that retail price kind of built in. Again, if an item sells for $60, it doesn't matter if you have free shipping or regular shipping or charging shipping. At the end of the day, the buyer is going to still be only willing to pay that amount, that $60 that it's worth. How you figure that out is gonna vary. It has to do with returns and stuff like that. We'll cover that next week, but it helps out with returns and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like, the buyer is only going to pay $60 for an item that's worth $60. However you list it is going to, however you do that, whether it's 20 here and 50 here, or whatever you do, combined, it's only going to sell for that price. So, but those people that have kind of built that into their listing for calculated with the retail price, a lot of times aren't going to want their items to be selling, because now their price, if it automatically changes to the discounted rate, their item's only going to sell for $50 versus $60, and they're going to not make as much money. So I understand that it's very easy to opt out of. So I don't know why everybody is freaking out over it, but they are. Maybe if I'm missing something, let me know. But I just don't understand what the big deal is. Kind of a rant there. As we move on to the next item. Let's see, Michael Cam. There we go. But yeah, that's been the big news over there. Now, like I said, calculated to me was always way off, because a lot of times it's not as accurate as it should be, and you do have to put in your thing. If you're selling a lot of the same items, I'm a free shipping person, so I know what it's going to cost me to ship this pop figure to California or New York for me. That's going to be the max rate. I build that into my price, and if for some reason it costs less than that to ship, great, I make a little bit of extra money. But it's not going to affect me. So this is only going to affect you if you have calculated shipping on your items. But again, there's advantages and disadvantages. Now, I'm not going to get into it. I'm gonna leave that for next week's video on the shipping, because I've got a lot of interesting points. So if you have questions about free shipping versus calculated or anything like that, or how to sell with the different methods, let me know in the comment box. Let me know about that, and we'll cover those in next week's video, because otherwise I'm going to rant forever. It may be a ranting video next week, guys, so if that worries you or you're not into that, let me know. But we've got some rants about some reselling, some resellers, what I don't want to say bad habits, but the title of the video, something like that, is going to be Are Resellers Impatient, or Are Resellers professional? I've got some topics, and like I said, this is going to be a little way more my opinion than anything else next week, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. I think it's going to be fun, and I would love to get your guys' opinions as well. So leave them in the comment box and join us. Should be a good one next week, next Monday, same time, same place. You can always find us here. But we'll see how that goes. Next up on the selling list is the new era here. Selling is for $44.99, paid $13. This is the San Diego Padres, and 7 1/4. Going to David in Oceanside, California. Oh man, good old eBay glitches. What else has been going on? I don't know if I told you guys this story. I apologize. I'm going to tell you again. I can't remember if I told you guys. We had an interesting thing happen. with an item that we sold right here in the video not that long ago. Gotta find my listing or my label here, guys. Bear with me. David, where's David? There he is. So I think it was last week or the week before. I can't remember. We sold a Lions hooded shirt, basically. We sold it here. We shipped it out on the channel on our live stream. That may have been actually that Thursday I did. I can't remember. Anyway, sold that item to a buyer. They contacted me all upset, claiming the item is cheap quality and that it isn't the right size. It's the size that was listed on the item. And the buyer kept saying it wasn't the right size, but they wouldn't tell me. And I told them to send photos, contacted them, told them to send photos of the label of the shirt, the tag to show that it was the wrong size. They wouldn't do it. They just kept saying it's poor quality, whatever. I said, I apologize. We don't accept returns. They immediately left me, or immediately contacted me back and told me that they were going to be leaving negative feedback due to my unprofessionalism and the fact that I wouldn't accept the return on a poor quality item. We know now eBay won't remove those comments. So I, as quickly as I could, I emailed them back and told them it was against eBay's policy to threaten negative feedback. It is against eBay's policy. Whether or not eBay would consider what they told me as threatening, I don't know. Because last time I did that, they said, oh, well, they're complaining about the quality, not the fact that you wouldn't accept the return. They're mad that you wouldn't accept the return. And that's what this person said is, that it was poor quality. And since you won't accept the return, I'm going to leave you negative feedback. So I told them immediately, I sent as quick of a message as I could. I wanted to get ahead of it before they left the feedback to make sure that they were aware. I don't want to say threaten, that's not the intention, but to make sure they're aware of that and kind of give them a second thought on it. I sent them a message saying, hey, it is against eBay's feedback. We apologize. We can't help you out with this. It's a $20 item. But, we leaving negative feedback due to threats or whatever is against eBay's policy. They emailed me back or messaged me back right away and said, we are leaving you feedback due to the poor quality of the item. You threatening us is absolutely unprofessional. Just a whole big spiel. And I was like, crap. Okay, so the threat didn't work, so I'm probably going to get a negative feedback. I messaged them back and said, we did not threaten you. We are just notifying you of eBay's policy. Oh, they said they were going to call and get our selling privileges revoked. That was the thing that got me. So they got mad, list all this stuff, told me that they were going to get my selling privileges revoked, which nobody can do that, okay? People like to threaten that, and I don't know why they do on eBay, but they can't do it, okay? There's ways for them to help get it done, but they can't just contact eBay and get your selling privileges. I've had several buyers try to tell me that. So I emailed them back and told them it was not a threat. The fact that they threatened us, we were just making them aware of the policy. We would be contacting eBay in regards to the situation and would no longer be communicating with them. That's how I left it. Again, trying to make sure that they understand that I'm not just going to roll over, because that's what they want a lot of times out of a return. And obviously these people didn't know how to open an item not as described case. Otherwise I'd be in trouble. This is one of those Fox Racing snapback hats we've shown in the previous video. Sorry, I should have shown you guys, but tape is already on it. Sold that one for $30 and we paid, I think, $12 for these. Let's see, what did I pay? Oh, I don't have it listed. I think I paid $10 or $12 for them. This is a volume play and it's done very well for me. Bought like 10 or 20 of them from an online retailer and I've been doing pretty good. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. So again, I was just trying to threaten is not the right word. Intimidate. Let's say intimidate the buyer into the fact that, hey, you're not going to threaten me, but at the same time, hoping they only feedback and trying to not de-escalate, but just convince them not to. I expect to get the feedback. I waited for it, literally was checking like every couple hours just for the fun of it to see what they were going to say in the comment so I could reply and, whatever. Never received a feedback. And like I said, they said they were going to contact eBay. I told them I was going to contact eBay and would not further be talking with them. I didn't contact eBay. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do. I take that back. I think I did report the message as threatening or something, but there's not much there. And eBay is not going to do anything. But that's what I left it at. 2 days, 3 days, something like that. Never received a negative feedback. was kind of surprised. I was like, okay, maybe they did contact feedback or eBay, and maybe eBay helped them out. I don't know, but didn't receive anything. So I was like, okay, maybe I got lucky. I think it was 2 days ago or 3 days ago. I go and check my feedback, and I'm just seeing if they left a comment or whatever. And I'm scrolling down, and I notice like a day or two before I'd received a positive feedback from the buyer on that item. I recognize the name of the item. The buyer left a positive feedback. It didn't say much. It just said a couple of words, and I don't remember what they were, but it wasn't negative. It was just a generic statement, and they left positive feedback for me. So I'm not sure if eBay handled the return or if they like refunded the customer or something, and the customer thought they were leaving feedback for eBay. I don't know, but it worked. Not gonna say it's gonna work for everybody. Honestly, I didn't expect it to work for me, but it did. And yeah, so we didn't end up getting a negative feedback. That would have been like number 9 for the year or something. We also had that one get automatically removed, which was pretty cool. And I've been talking to some people about it. It looks like there's some AI doing some feedback revisions now and stuff. So pretty cool there. But yeah, interesting story. Like I said, I was fully expecting the return or expecting the feedback, if not an item not as described return, which kind of surprised me. I didn't get that either. But so I may not have known how to do that. Might have thought threatening was the best way, but you can't be afraid of negative feedback. I don't like them. Obviously, it doesn't affect you a ton, but when you end up stacking them up and you have, several of them in a year, it can really hurt you. Just your overall look. And most people read. I always respond to negative feedback, and I recommend that. Always respond professionally, but very blunt. And all my feedback, a lot of them I never hear from the buyer. They'll leave me a negative, and then it'll be like, item not received. Well, they never contacted me, never let me know it wasn't there or anything, so there's not much you can do about it. And so those, I always respond to those. Buyer never contacted us, we'd be happy to help them out, but we weren't made aware of the situation. And I always recommend that. But it can still, like I said, you get several of them stacked up, then it does hurt your percentage. The feedback percentage, guys, does not affect your metrics at all, according to eBay. I've asked them about this multiple times directly when talking to them on the phone. It does not affect your feedback. Does not affect your selling performance. It doesn't affect the algorithm. Supposedly, it doesn't affect any of that. That's what eBay has told me. It's just a way for basically it's to make the customer feel good, is what they're saying. But to me, it's kind of pointless, especially since you can't leave negative feedback. I get terrible buyers sometimes, and you can't leave negative feedback for buyers. So it's kind of pointless in my opinion, but that's how eBay sees it. This item that I've shown you 100 times is one of the, it's actually a Texas Rangers hat. It's just got the Texas flag. I guess maybe that's their logo too. I don't know. I've never seen it, but it does have the Texas Rangers logo on the back. This is one of those one-offs that we got for a couple bucks and sold it for $29.99, and it sold really fast. I've been pricing my 47 hats lower than my New Eras, and I'll be honest, guys, I think you can probably list them closer to the New Era prices if it's a decent hat, for sporting at least, because, like I said, that one sold pretty quick. I think within 2 days of me listing it for 30 bucks. And I think retail on these is like 25. It might be 30 on some, but 25. It's just a dad hat, so it's not even a structured hat or anything. But definitely worth keeping an eye out. I did pick up some hats at Burlington. Burlington has raised their hat prices. They've raised all their prices. Their feet prices are up. Their hat prices are up. Most hats now are $9.99 or more, where they used to be like $6.99 and $7.99. So not as many opportunities there because the hat market price hasn't gone up necessarily. But I still buy them, and I bought, I think, 5 or 6 this past week from them. Just good ones, different ones, unique ones, stuff like that. If you see a lot of them, though, in the store, they're probably going to tank really bad, and you're going to have to hold on to them. If you find 1 or 2, it's not that bad. But, like, there's a lot of Texas Rangers dad hats just like this one, but just different color scheme, just the basic core, what they call core colors. And they're all over the place. Every single one of my stores has probably not hundreds, but probably 10 to 20 of them in their stores. Those are going to tank really bad. So I haven't been buying them, and they're like $10, $12. So just isn't worth it, unfortunately. But if you can catch them on clearance, it is good because they mark down a lot of their hats. They drop them by about $2 a piece every time they drop. So like your $10 hats go down to the $8 like they used to be. And then if you get a second markdown, you can get them a lot cheaper. So still worth checking out, but not quite there. Prices are just going up, unfortunately. Let's see here. I think I missed. My next order is the same shoes that I sold earlier. So let me make sure I got the right shoes, the right size going out here before I move on. Let's see here. Make sure I don't send the wrong item. But we got another pair of those Converse. What else has been going on? Let's see. Oh, so I'm not sponsored by Vindo. I've been using Vindo, and I've been trying to keep you guys up to date on some of that. I'm going to be honest with you. I am not making anything, and I did send the wrong shoes, the wrong person, guys. Holy crap. Okay. So the Stephanie shoes. I sent the wrong ones, guys, and I'm not paying attention. Holy crap. Let's get this one open back up here. So this is what happens when I'm not paying attention. This is why I stop a lot of times in the middle of my sentences, guys, when I'm talking to you, is because I almost sent the wrong shoes, the wrong person. These blue ones do not go to Stephanie. Stephanie bought these gray ones. These are from the Kohl's clearance event online. We bought a lot of these. They're a crazy good deal. They were like $23, I think, for these. Leather or synthetic leather, whatever they are. Converse high tops. And they sell both men's and women's. We sold these ones. These were 7.5s. Again, they sold for $69.99. We paid $25. Those are the ones going to whoever this person is, Stephanie. So let's throw those in the box and box this back up. Make sure I get the right shoes. That's kind of the danger of doing these on shipping videos. Unfortunately, you never know what's going to happen here. Let me see here. So those are going out. Let's grab the correct ones, or the 11s that are actually going out, the blue ones that I showed you guys to begin with. Let's grab those, and those are going out to, I've got to go back here. Back again. Those are going out to, don't know how to pronounce the first word, Mr. Smith in Corona, California. So the gray ones, guys, we did, again, pay $22 or something like that, and they did sell for $69.99. So the same price. But I think I grabbed the wrong ones. Yes, I did. Okay. So I don't have the shoes for him. We made some big mistakes, guys, on there. So I'm going to have to double check which shoes I shipped out. All right, let's get back on topic here. This one, 47 brand Giants hat. Paid $7 for this one and sold it for $24.99. Again, I think I have these too low priced. Might have to bump them up. Let's see here. All right. So that's going to Angel in Mobile, Alabama. So I have been cross-listing with Vindu to Mercari. I have had 0 sales. I have about 500 listings now on Mercari. I did not adjust my prices to account for like the discount in the fees and stuff now, so I probably am higher priced than most, but I'm not even getting offers. I'm getting likes on a few items, but I'm not getting offers. I'm not getting anything, and that's what I kind of expected, was people maybe making offers on the item, but maybe I'm just super high priced. I need to go through and check some of them, but I 500 items and not have any sales, not have anything at all, is a bit concerning. So I don't know if I'm going to keep paying for Vindu to do that or not. We'll see what happens. But Vindu did just release, again, not sponsored by them, I just use them, so I'm going to talk about it. They did just release their cross-listing to Whatnot, which is pretty cool. You can now literally hit a button and it'll list straight to Whatnot. You don't even hardly have to put any extra info in on most of your items. I'm in the same boat with Vindu and Mercari. I feel like I'm wasting my money right now. I see I'm the same way. So I'm going to give it another month and actually put a little bit of time into comping and making sure my prices are valid over there on Mercari. But yeah, I don't know. It's not paying for itself for sure. So we'll see what happens. If anything else, I might just keep it on like the lowest category that I can as far as price per month. And I'll just list over individual items that I think will sell over there. So like my Funko Pops, I've got listed over there. You know, some of these random items that, you know, I can sell one-offs and stuff, I'll do that, because a lot of my listings are bulk listings and I can't list them over on Mercari anyway. So I'm only being able to take advantage of like half of my eBay listings to cross list. So we'll see how it goes. I'll probably give it another month and try to do a little bit more work. We'll talk about that as we go with it. But yeah, it's not working for me. I've had Recon. I don't know if Recon's in here right now, but he's been telling me he's been doing great over on Mercari. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but I'm not having much luck with it. So hopefully you guys are. But it's not working out for me, so we'll see how that goes. But they do have the Whatnot cross listing now, so you can, if you're approved to sell on Whatnot, you can sell it. And what it does is it cross lists it into like a storefront on Whatnot. It's not an auction or anything like that, but it's just their buy it now section, and you can list your stuff over there. Cross list, hit the button, it goes over there. Boom. It's really short, easy. We're trying it out again. Haven't had anything sell over there yet, but we'll see if we can get something. Let's see. Green says, I did learn from the customer service that you need to keep your computer on, cannot sleep or turn off, or will not delist. Yes, that's correct. So on my computer, I have a tab up with Chrome all the time that has just Vindu, Mercari, eBay, and Whatnot now listed across as different tabs, and I just leave that up. It is delisting from, it's delisting everywhere when I sell on eBay. I haven't sold anything on Mercari or on Whatnot recently to check and see if it's pulling from eBay, which is the one I was having an issue with. They said they were working on some fixes for that, so hopefully that went through. But again, I haven't been over there yet to know for sure, or I haven't had any sales yet to be able to see if it's actually delisting from there. But it is delisting. If I sell it on eBay, it's delisting from Mercari and Whatnot instantly almost. So that's really good, and helps out. But I need to be getting sales from those other platforms to make it worth my time. Next up, we do have these. These are a bin store purchase that I actually bought for, I want to say, I think I paid $10 for these. These are Honeywell home thermostats. These are a particular model. They're smart, so they connect to your phone or app or whatever. And you can control them. These are untested, and I sell them as untested. Most of the time it's just the actual face of it. A lot of times like the things that the pins are going to and stuff are not there. I sell these 4 parts, and they were selling really well for like 25 to 35 bucks. These ones for some reason wouldn't. I think the price tanked a lot on them, but I had 2 of them. A buyer actually bought both of them and paid $77.98. So it looks like I had them at 35 would be 70, so 38 bucks, something like that is what they paid for each of them. Which is really cool. So we got those going out. Those are going out to Lucas in New Jersey. And like I said, they are untested, so can't beat that. And nobody buys them from resellers. Let's see, that should be this label here. There we go. Nobody really buys them for parts, at least from bin stores. A lot of people don't. There are some, obviously, like myself, but you can tend to find them. You just have to make sure they're a decent model, because some of the models aren't smart, and so they aren't worth the money for them. So keep that in mind. But cool little sale there. Let's see. I want to make sure I get these packaged up a little better. I don't want them coming loose. These boxes, I ship them in the boxes just because they do have, like, I think they have serial numbers on them and stuff, and they do match the items. So if for some reason the customer needs that, but we are going to take the lid down just so they don't come out and bang around too much in shipment. And I'll just slide them in the box. So that is our last eBay sale. We got a few more Amazon sales to get into here in just a second. Let's talk about kind of our last topic here, guys. And thank you all once again for joining us. If you're watching this live, I do appreciate it. And if you're catching this after, I appreciate that as well. Any comments or questions, feel free to let us know in the comment box or in the live chat, and we can discuss it. But thank you all, like I said, for joining. All the support you guys give me is incredible. And I can't wait to just keep building this and hopefully sharing more information that helps you guys out, and maybe waste a little bit of your time throughout your reselling day as we talk about mine. Mine isn't that extravagant, guys. Really, it's not. But you never know what you're going to be doing or what's going to happen in a day, right? So my next big venture, guys, is going to be, and girls, I keep saying guys, is going to be ad tracking. Something that I'm looking into, that a good friend of mine and actually one of my suppliers that has been helping me out in the past let me know into, and that is going to be opening up a website for myself. So basically a website to sell, focusing on hats. And the reason for that is a lot of the hats and stuff. Why did this go like that? Oh, my eBay just messed up. Okay. Something's messing up. Wow. So, like I said, a lot of the hats and stuff that I get are old hats or discontinued or ones that aren't mainstream right now. And the thing with that is they hold value. They still have value. People will still pay full retail. You see me sell them all the time, full retail. But they don't see. Obviously these stores can't keep them. So one of the things though is that not a lot of people look for these hats and stuff like that on eBay. They, once they're gone, they think they're gone and so on. So I feel like there is a portion of an audience that I could reach by opening up my own website. He actually was talking to me. He's like, hey, I can get you in contact with some hat, like social media people basically, and can probably get you some plugs on there as far as, people wanting, or can shout out, basically give you a shout out or whatever for your website if you carry a lot of these old hats. That way buyers that are still looking for them can find them. It's one of those things where, like, again, there's a supply and there's a demand for it, but getting that supply and demand together is kind of the hard thing because not everybody looks on eBay and there's no really other outlet for it. So, hey, Mohammed, thank you for joining. Appreciate it. I am there. I am here. Thank you for joining the live today. So talking with him, got the idea that, I honestly thought of starting my own website. There's a couple advantages to that. Obviously, you don't have near as many fees. You can set your own thing. You don't have to worry about returns. If you don't want returns, you don't have to accept them, like all that type of stuff. So there's a lot of advantages to it. The disadvantage is obviously building that platform is going to be way harder. You've got to put your name out there. You got to get it out on social media. You got to market. You got to do all that yourself. That's one of the things about eBay people don't understand is eBay is not, we pay 15% in fees to eBay, but they're doing all that for us. They're doing the marketing. They're doing the search terms, all that stuff. Let's see. Can you please tell me Pro Max or S24 Ultra? I'm not sure what you're talking about, man. So anyway, the whole idea of starting a website isn't something new to me. I've thought about doing it because I do end up with a lot of particular items, as far as, hats being one of them. But, I carry a lot of sports brand material and so on in my store. It would be nice to have a place where I can hopefully get some traffic and some sales through. Going to be less fees. Maybe I can offer better discounts, stuff like that, and build that. Then if for some reason, Lord forbid, that, eBay decides to take my account or Amazon or whatever, I still have another platform that hopefully I can build slowly as I'm going. So I've thought about doing that. I've been wanting to do that for a while, but never really looked into it solidly because of not knowing how to market. So with my hats, like I said, we were discussing it and stuff, talking about how we can get some social media influencers and stuff like that to get a start up and kind of build that brand out of selling these hats and stuff that I'm able to get as of right now. And then if it turns into something later on, that's fine. Even if I don't get any more hats and I move on to a different category or whatever, I'll still have that audience build up that hopefully I can utilize and at the same time make more profit. So it's going to take some investment, and it's definitely going to be a lot more time consuming, but I think it might be worth it. And so we're going to look into that probably this week. I've got a kind of a schedule laid out. I've got to get about 2 more days worth of listings done. And then we've got, what else do we have? The Burlington video, I started editing that last night, and hopefully we can get it out here soon. Editing takes me forever, guys. That's why I love these live streams. I make mistakes and I ramble and say the wrong things, but I don't have to edit it later, and that's kind of nice. But I am doing that video, and I do want to do a few more videos more often. I haven't done one in like 6 months, and that's too long. So we are going to do some short form content in that aspect. So I got to work on that. So that's my goal this week, is to finish all that, get caught up in all my listings, get everything listed that I can, besides a couple of the bulk deals that I have coming in, and focus next week. I've got a little bit of a short week, going to be going on vacation, but next week before that, I want to get in and dig in and see if it's going to be a possibility to do this website. So I'm excited about it. Like I said, I enjoy doing that type of stuff. It takes me forever because I'm picky. It is going to be more of a cost. Obviously, you have to host your own website and stuff like that. So there's going to be some cost investments in it. But I want to share with you guys as we go along and do that, and kind of share what I'm dealing with and the struggles that I go through with it. And then at the end, hopefully in a year or so, we'll be able to go back and look and see if it was worth it. Like I said, it's going to take some investment on my part, but I feel like it's worth it at this point. And maybe once I get started in it and get aggravated enough, it may not be. But we want to share that as we go along. So stay tuned. We're going to be talking about that type of stuff over the next few months, and hopefully you guys enjoy that type of content and maybe gives you some ideas for what you sell. Again, I wouldn't recommend it if you're just selling random stuff, unless you feel like you have a method to get your name out there to people that might shop you for just discounts. If you have a social media following, that's great. I don't, and even my YouTube platform, I probably will share it eventually, but it's, I don't have a huge enough following to make that big of an impact on it. So I don't feel like, you've got to have a way of getting it out, and that's going to be my biggest goal, is to figure out a way of promoting it without having that media following, and see if it's a possibility. It may tank really bad. It may not work. We don't know. But we're going to give it a shot. So looking forward to that. If you guys have ideas or suggestions on that, or any content you would like to see from that, let me know. Like I said, videos are a little bit harder for me, but we could do a documentary series kind of on it and show you guys some of the process that it takes. But it's definitely going to be a time investment. But what do you guys think? Do you think it's worth doing? Obviously, do you think it's a waste of time? I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on it. Feel free to let us know. But that's my big news. That's the kind of the thing that I'm focusing on right now. Obviously that, and I do want to do some more actual short form content. When I say short form, I'm talking regular videos, 10, 20-minute videos versus the 2-hour ones that we do here. I think we're going on, we're 2 hours and 10 minutes already. So this is going to be a long one. But I do want to do some more of that and build the channel that way. So looking forward to that, but also the website. That's going to be kind of my main goals. And then just maintaining. I don't want to do a whole bunch of sourcing right now. I've got a lot of money put out, and I want to kind of recoup on some of that, getting ready for this move, plus getting ready for a move here within the next few months. I don't want to buy a ton of inventory that I just end up having to move. So it would be kind of nice to sell down. You don't normally want to do that as a reseller. You don't want to sell out of your inventory. But when you're looking at moving it, cross country, less is definitely appeasing to you. So we'll see how that goes. I've just been packaging these up, guys. These are these Under Armour boxers that we talk about all the time. Sold these for paid $12, selling them for $34 right now. Price did go up because I think I am one of the only sellers on them. So cool deal there. Going to Corey. Where is Corey? There's Corey. Going out to Corey. What else do we have going on? I really don't think there's a whole lot going on, guys. What are you up to? Are you listing right now? That's what I should be doing. That's what I like to do, watching these type of videos. I don't know if that's what I would like to know, is what you guys do with these videos. Do you just put them on in the background while you're listing? Do you listen to them later on? This box is smashed a little bit, but it should be okay. They're just underwear. What type of content do you like to watch? And do you, as far as reselling content? I watch quite a bit, but again, I put it on when I'm listing or working or driving or whatever. I'll put different content on, just to kind of get ideas from other people and what they're doing. As a reseller, I think a lot of people overlook the fact that you can learn so much from other resellers. That I learned so much, not just in lessons, but like tips and stuff that they do that I find are really helpful. Just by watching other people, talking to other people. I have reseller friends that do this as a business as well, or even as a side hustle. Talking with them everybody likes to think of it as competition, but honestly, in the end, you can learn so much that you would never think of as one person. And that goes for anything that you do, hobbies, whatever it is. But reselling, I think a lot of people overlook that aspect of it. You can learn a lot from other resellers that'll help you out in your business. I know I have. I've learned a lot from other people, and I truly enjoy learning and seeing how other people operate. It's not going to be for everybody, not everybody's going to have the same ideas, and not everything's going to work for everyone either. It depends on what you sell, where you are, your model, stuff like that. But it is really nice to have, and so I recommend it. One thing I did, we got one comment. Let's see, Green said, I've been listing and doing accounting, but I often watch these live streams twice. I miss things on my first watch. Thanks, man. I've done that too with some really good podcasts and stuff. You can listen again and catch up on some stuff you missed. Yeah, I'm the same way. I watch reselling content when I'm listing or just doing whatever. It's a pretty cool way to kind of takes up your time too. You're not sitting there thinking about how much time you're spending on something. So that's always nice too. That is actually the last of my boxer briefs, guys, for the Under Armour in that size. I still have some other sizes, but that is the last of them. So pretty crazy. We did just do a call out for those actually in Bread and Butter. Found out a few more, but different sizes, different colors, whatever it was. But yeah, that's the last of them for that size. So they've slowed down on Amazon. I got to wait for my other sizes to get the buy box. Basically, letting other sellers sell out at a lower price so that I can get my full retail. These are those Nike Vapor baseball pants. We've shown several times as well. Going out, sold those for $50 and paid 10 to 15. I bought so many of those, have so many left that they just keep going. So we'll see. Going to Walla Walla, Washington. Interesting name. Going out to Miss Melissa. One thing I just remembered that I forgot to mention in the wholesaling thing, and this is kind of a tip for you guys and something that I'm going to be doing. I haven't done it in the past, but I am going to be doing it now, especially again. I've held off on kind of building my wholesale connections because of moving. A lot of them are going to be local. There's some that I can still take advantage of even when I move, but a lot of them are going to be local deals. And so I like to build those. I don't like to build those and then just drop them. I don't like to take advantage of people like that. So I'm actually holding off. Obviously, and you buy in bulk when you buy bulk deals. So I don't have the room and I don't want to move it. That's why I'm kind of holding off on it. But once I get back into the groove of it, especially once we get relocated, I do have a few tips that I want to do to help with that. And I'll tell you one of them here in just a second. Got these Deer Stag women's slippers. These took forever to sell. I bought these at a bin store. I think I paid $10 for them. They were brand new in box. I don't remember if I just didn't comp them or if I'm a terrible reseller and I didn't pay attention. I don't know. But something happened with them because I can't figure out how this is in here. When I bought them, they were worth buying, and they took forever to sell and only sold for $30. So 10 into 30 is okay, but it's literally, I've had these for over a year now. So disappointing in that, but they are gone. Got them out of here finally. They did sell for $30. Fingers crossed they don't come back. I did sell them on Amazon. Probably not the smartest move, but they weren't selling on eBay either. So guess we'll take the risk. Take the risk to get them out of here. Wow, the box is huge for that. Let's see. I thought I had a smaller box I could use, but it is Amazon, so we're just going to have to use an actual one. But one of those tips, if you are planning to just specifically go out, and I actually recommend this. I would recommend this for just reselling in general as well. Hey, they are going to fit, aren't they? Is to have business cards, whether that's, like I said, for personal, for like your what you call it, your eBay store, or if you have a website or whatever. I would recommend getting some business cards made. You don't have to have a ton of them. You're not handing them out to every single person. You could probably go to Vistaprint and get like 100, 200 business cards, 250, whatever their minimum amount is. And just get some business cards made up. It doesn't have to be crazy, but just with your information. That way you can leave it with people. I get people asking all the time, personal friends of mine and stuff, hey, where do I buy, or where can I see what you have for sale? And obviously, once you get a lot of listings up, you can't really tell them what you have, for the most part. So I would recommend either having a business card or something like that that you can just hand to them with your eBay name on it, maybe a link, maybe I don't know if you want to put your telephone number. I don't put my telephone number on it, but you put your email, whatever, that you can just hand out, and it's quick and easy, and they have it. When you're doing wholesale, I'd recommend getting some specifically set up for wholesale. I wouldn't put in there, I wouldn't make it like, you're this wholesale buyer or whatever, but I would have it like your name, your email, your phone number, maybe a logo, whatever you want to do. Make it look professional, but have a business card with that information on it. And then on the back, leave it blank. Don't put graphics on it. Don't put anything else, because the back you can use for notes. And what I've done this in the past. I don't have any now, but I have done this in the past with my business cards. Is I'll take those and hand them out to people that might be, managers or whatever. Once you get that relationship built, and you say, hey, if you get any more, you do a bulk deal. Say you buy a bunch of shoes. Hey, if you get any more of these and want them and need to move them, let me know. Here's my card. And then what I'll do is on the back of the card, I might write, interested in shoes, hats, whatever you're interested in, and hand that to them, or leave a note and say, next time, you get in more of this particular item, let me know, whatever. You leave the back so you can write those notes. You hand that business card to that person. Number one, either they're going to keep it, or they're going to take a photo of it and they'll remember it, or number two, they're going to throw it away if they don't have any intention of calling you back. It doesn't hurt you at all, but it gives them an opportunity. And it's better than trying to be like, hey, let me give you my number to do this. I always offer contact. Like whenever I'm doing bulk buys, I always offer that person, hey, I'll be happy to give you my phone number if you get more of these in or whatever. But giving them that business card means that you don't have to wait for them to answer, basically. You can have it already ready to go, hand it to them, and whether they keep it or not is on them, but they have it. And then whenever a bulk deal comes up or something they need a problem solved, you can say, hey, they're going to be like, hey, that guy gave me his number or his business card. Let me find it, or maybe I took a picture of it or whatever, and they'll pull that up, and then you have that form of contact. So it's something, it's worth the investment. Again, you're not going to use a ton of them, so you can grab 100, 200 of them, whatever you want to do, and just make it basic, but have your contact information on there. That way they can get a hold of you and possibly lead you into a lot more opportunities later on down the road. I would be giving them out to managers. I've given several managers my business card info, or not business card, but my contact information for different stores. I mean, Burlington, I've got a Burlington that I know the manager of pretty well, and I tell him, hey, if you get cleats in, let me know. If he's in there, he lets me know. If not, it doesn't. But it's always great to build those relationships, and that's just a quick and easy tool you can use to do that. What's up, Freakon? Thanks for joining in. Appreciate it, man. We are wrapping up here. Actually, we got one more order to go out, and then I think we'll be pretty much done. But if you guys have questions or comments or anything you want to talk about, I'm game. I'm here. But yeah, that's just one of those tips, guys, like I said, that you may find useful for helping build those relationships too, is just have a business card with your basic information on it. That way they can have a little bit easier way of contacting you. We got these Nike Essential boxer briefs, paid $15 at a Kohl's clearance event, evidently, because I got the tag still on them here. $15 into $43.99. These retail for $45. So it took forever. Again, I've had these for several months now, but I had my price listed high. I didn't want to tank down to the bottom, so that's why I left the price up at almost retail. And a lot of times for these, once those tankers get sold out, you can sell it for full retail, and it is worth it. Will, what's up, Will? Just tuning in. How are sales, my friend? They are slow, really slow this weekend. Recon's going to get in here and brag. He's already been bragging to me in Discord, but no, I'm just kidding, man. I'm glad you're making sales, man. That's awesome. But yeah, mine have been slow. This is the first week of slow sales I've had since fourth quarter. We only did, I think, $1,300 for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So what is that? 13, 4, 8, 9. So it's $400 a day, guys. That's not terrible. I shouldn't complain. It's just once you get up on that high for so long, then you hate to see it drop below. So $400 in sales is not bad a day, but it just felt really slow. So, but can't complain too much. Overall, wasn't that bad. Let's see. These are going out to Margaret in Massachusetts. Oh, good thing Goon's not in here. Goon's wife. Is he in Maryland? I don't think he's in Maryland. Never mind. Massachusetts. All right, guys. So we did have 2 orders that we are going to have to cancel. I kind of covered that one unfortunately. We had this phone, and unless I can find it here, I'm going to look for it a little bit after we get done with the video, but unless I can find this phone that goes in this box, we're going to have to cancel that. That was only a $20 sale, but it was on eBay, and unfortunately I am way high on my cancellation rate on eBay. So I don't know what we're going to do there with that. But the other one was over on Amazon. Sold some, we sold them on here before, the Merrill water slides, basically like a water shoe, women's water shoe. All white, sold a size 7. I haven't had size 7 for a year. I don't know how they got relisted or if they just took forever to sell. I don't know. But we sold those and we are going to have to cancel that. That was $30. So got about $50 in cancellations this weekend, which is not good. But, you know, got to do what you got to do. Other than that, I think we covered everything, guys. Like I said, we talked about the website idea. If you guys have websites and stuff, I have never had a crazier non-quarter for Sunday ever. That's crazy. My last week was like that. So again, it evens out. That's awesome, man. It makes you feel good, especially going into, what is this, April, going into May. Like, this is pretty peak, you know, summer. We might see, you know, next month it might drop off even more, but this is getting pretty close to summer, and to not have a slowdown is awesome. It means you're doing something right. So, and like I said, guys, I try not to get too down whenever I have a bad week or in sales or something like that. That's sales in general. Every retailer, if you work for them, you know you're going to have that. It's just how it goes. It's part of the ups and downs and stuff like that. You just kind of have to flow with it. Do what you can, but at the end of the day, you know, it's sort of out of your hands as long as you're doing what you need to do and making sure you're not slacking or not hustling for it. You know, you roll with it, and it is just another day. Next week we could be up crazy in sales, and we're going to be super happy about it, and we won't even remember this week. So always keep that in mind, guys. Try to keep that positivity as much as you can because it helps out a lot. I see Recon said some dude bought every single pair of Nike Gator slides in size 14. Nice, man. Dang, were you the one that got that wholesale deal? I'm gonna be. I tried to snag it from somebody, but they beat me to it over in Bread and Butter. Good old summer slump, yeah. Now, but yeah, guys. So keep your heads up with that. If you guys are seeing slower sales, you know, try to branch out and see what you can make happen. But at the end of the day, you got to roll with it and just keep working, just keep hustling, and it'll turn around. It just may take a little bit longer than you want, and that's where I'm at. You know, I obviously don't want to see a slow week, but I also understand it's part of business. So, but that's pretty much it. Like I said, let me know, guys, in the comment box if you have any video ideas or anything like that. Would love to talk about stuff you guys want to talk about. We are going to be talking about resellers next week, and what to expect, I guess. As far as I've got some complaints and some things I think people are doing that aren't really worth it. But we'll be talking about that. Be a lot of opinion on that. Would love for you guys to join us on that one. If you have ideas for the website and stuff like that, or if you've got any opinions on that, would love to hear that as well. We kind of talked about that at the end of this video. Would really appreciate any input that you guys want to give. Like I said, doesn't mean it'll happen, but I would love to get your guys' opinion on this stuff. And if you have any other topics or questions or comments, opinions, I would love to hear them in the comment box. Feel free to message me anytime also, and check out the links below. But I think that is going to do it. So if there's anything else, I'll let you guys give you guys just a quick second. Recon posted what? He bought 6 pairs. Oh, okay, from the Academy sale. Nice. Yeah, someone beat me to the one and the other, but yeah, that's awesome, man. That's how last week I sold all that stuff from the Kohl's clearance event, so that really helped boost my weekend too. Those big bulk buys are huge. They make it nice, definitely for sure. But you know, can't have them all the time. But hopefully this video helped with that. Showed you guys some tips and tricks on how to get those wholesale buys. And if I didn't answer your question or I didn't answer or talk about a specific thing, let me know. I will gladly help you guys out as much as I can. All right, guys, I think I'm going to head out of here. We will see you next Monday, same time, same place, talking about resellers, talking about free shipping, talking about all that good stuff. So you don't want to miss out. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. If you haven't liked this video, please do. Thumbs up is a huge help. That boosts us in the algorithm as well as all your guys' comments. And feel free to go back, rewatch this video, leave me comments in there. It helps out as much as we can. Let's see what kind of profit margin Will posted. What kind of profit margin are you running? Um, that's a hard one. So it depends. Right now, my profit margins are probably 60%, 70%. When I consider profit margin, um, that's how much of the sale. I guess I should reword that. That's the sale price margin. So if I sell it for $100, I try to do my best to where I'm making $50 to $60. So 50 to 60%. Some people, maybe that's not what you consider profit margin. Um, Profit margin maybe for the buy price. I like to double my money. So if I spend $20 on an item, I want to be able to at least sell it. I want to be able to at least make $20 off of it. Some people calculate it different ways, but my profit margin, like I said, I like to double up my money minimum, unless I'm know I can sell a bunch of them or it's a bulk. What do you call it? Um, yeah, a quick flip or something like that. Then I'll go less. But my profit margins, like I said, on my hats and stuff are way high. On my cleats that I'm selling right now are not as high. I'm only making like 10, $15 on those, but those are what sell really well through the summer. So my margins are kind of all over the place, but I would say on average, I would say like if I took my gross sales and then subtracted my, all my profits and stuff, I would say I'm making about 40% of my 40 to 50% of my total sales is my profit. So like on this $1,500 weekend or $1,200 weekend, I probably made $500 profit over the weekend. So that's close. I don't have it right off the top of my head. And like I said, it varies on what I'm selling that weekend. My hats are way higher than my shoes, so it kind of evens out that way. But hopefully that answers for you, Will. I don't know if it did or not, but yeah, I think that's gonna be it, guys. Like I said, hit that subscribe, like button, all that good stuff. Follow us on Instagram, and we will see you next week for another episode of Day in the Life of a Reseller. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.